Anytime I try and go to ESPN, it's really weird.
It's the ads,
Nin-
man.
1935 on mine.
All right, I got 40-25 on mine, but go by ears.
All right. 5, 4. Four, excuse me. 5,
Woohoo.
4, 3, 2. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Next Round Sports. This is Chris Porter here with my partners in crime, Caleb and Culver, and
Baby.
Jeff Amos. How you doing tonight, guys?
What was that?
I have no idea. I was trying
It's
not
the
to
Barry
laugh.
White impression.
It was.
But
Oh
yes,
well, we're just gonna do it live. We're gonna do it live.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
How you doing tonight, gentlemen?
We're
doing
getting there.
great, Ray.
It's the week of the catches. There's been some crazy
Yeah,
catches all week in every sport.
you had a
That
solid
it
weekend of
has
college
been.
football, and then NFL starts tomorrow.
Football has started hot and heavy. We've completed
Baltimore.
week 1, and we're actually
Shut
recording
up.
this here on Wednesday night, a night later than usual. So we'll try to get this out as soon as possible to hear our picks. But you may be hearing this after the Thursday night start of the NFL season with Caleb's Ravens going against Kansas City Chiefs.
I think you mean Ravens beating the Chiefs.
We'll see. I'm kind of hoping, especially since I have Baltimore's defense in one of my leagues, I would really like their defense
Yeah,
to have, play like they do early in the season, and Kansas City to play like they do early in the season, which is not
very
usually
true.
good stuff. So
Yep.
that's what I'm hoping for, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll wait and see how that goes.
Too true.
But we'll go ahead and get started here with the first round, and going into the first week of college football. And there were a lot there weren't really a lot of games that were really close. There were a lot of blowouts, a lot of games that
Yeah, but this early in the
really
season, I mean, you're having like Alabama against Western Kentucky. You're having big teams against no
yes,
names.
this is where they scheduled the powder puffs,
Right.
and
You want a good
get,
start. You want to win.
want a way to get things going on, unless years ago Appalachian State, knocking off people, Michigan, a few other people,
Texas
but
A&M.
there
Yeah, 2 years
there were a
ago.
few close games, especially the North Dakota State game. South Dakota State going against Oklahoma State. I mean,
Yeah.
some North Dakota State and Colorado. They came out. I mean,
Hmm.
they all had good showings there with the bigger school actually getting the win. But the first one we'll talk about uh, is one we talked about last week: Colorado State and Texas. This game stayed pretty close early, but Texas was able to finally just put their foot on the gas pedal and get a 52-0 win.
Yeah. Even Archie Manning getting a touchdown in there, 95 yards passing.
Yeah, so much for everyone was worried about Texas. They're losing all their skill positions. How can they replace them? But I think what this game demonstrate, not look, Colorado State's not a world beater. We
I
know
was about
that.
to say, Jeff,
But
come on now. I'm going
but
to have to come over there and talk to
no,
you about that talent situation. This is
no,
Colorado State.
no. But this, I think you saw flashes of Texas in that game where they're not. It doesn't matter. They're at reload status. They're approaching, Saban Alabama level where they can just reload and restock without really any consequence. Other than the interception by Ewers, I thought he played really well. I thought obviously Arch came in, and I think what's amazing though is that after these Texas games, everyone's talking about what did Arch do? That's kind of the storyline. But
Well, it's because
I
they
think
expected him to start this year.
I
He's
don't
got the
think
name.
no.
He's got the name, and as long as he's got that
Right.
Manning last name, everyone's going to ask about it because of his
Mm,
uncles.
Right.
That's just that comes with it.
right.
It
I don't know if.
but
Which Manning you gonna get? You get the one that peaked in college and had the injuries, or you gonna get the one that goes to the NFL?
When
Yeah,
Peyton and
I
Eli's kids are old enough to, to be in college, they're going to get the same thing. It's if they decide to play, you're going to get that. Their
right.
grandkids are going to get that. It's just as long as they
Yeah,
play, they're going to get ranked up against them. People are going to want to see it because of the name.
yeah. I
Brady's
mean,
kids.
I, I don't know, I'm still not sold on Texas, but they had a good showing in this Colorado State game. They did.
Yeah,
There
and
were
one thing
glimpses
is
in
that
there.
Texas will get more of a test this coming week. And really
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest
Texas
game
is
of the
gonna
country
lose
is
this
Michigan.
next week. They're losing to Michigan, going up to
no,
Ann
they're
Arbor.
not.
They're gonna lose. Yeah, yes,
No,
they are. They're
no,
gonna
they're
Michigan
not.
lose.
lost just as many players as Texas, if not more. They lost their head
Yeah,
coach.
Yeah. Oh,
They
you mean the
are
cheater?
ranked 10th. It's in the it's up there in Michigan. That's
I know.
fine.
That's
I
one of
think
the
this is,
reasons I got it.
I'm
It's the
looking
home
forward to
field
this game.
advantage.
I think this is going to be the test that they need to see. If they lose to them, then they deserve to. They don't deserve to be where they're at. That's fair. That's why these games are played. But I don't think it's going to be just as easy of a beatdown as you're expecting.
Oh, I don't expect a beat down. Don't get me wrong. We'll get into that when we talk more about it later. But
Mhm. I just wanted to at least touch on it since we were already talking about Texas.
yeah,
But
I got you.
one of the other games coming in, Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Notre Dame able to win 23-13 down in Kyle Field.
And we knew Texas A&M wasn't going to show up. I mean, I'm not a
Well,
fan of Notre Dame or Texas A&M by any means necessarily, but I mean, Notre Dame's just the better team. Texas A&M had no talent last year, and they still unfortunately have no talent this year.
I think what the shocking thing is well, I shouldn't say shocking, but it just look. I think Connor Wegman with all the injuries, he's only had. I think going into the game, he only had 230 pass attempts, and there were a ton of people going into the season saying how he has the potential to be a top 10. It's really just based on his high school career because he
Right.
really hasn't proved anything yet. And then his first big time game, he was awful on primetime television. So that was not an ideal debut at all. And I think what's kind of scary for me is that those picks were squarely on Wegman, but I think more concerning, he's playing like he's worried that he's going to get another injury again. And if you're going to
Mm,
play
yeah.
shell shocked,
mhm.
dude, good luck with that. And there's really no reason to be shell shocked at all. You're playing in front of 107,000 fans cheering for
Yeah.
you.
And I thought the
Uh,
line overall held up pretty well for him.
Mhm.
yeah, but I mean, also too, you have to really admire the job, at least on the defensive side of the ball, that Marcus Freeman's done. I mean, that's secondary. Look, Wegman was, don't get me wrong, not good, but that secondary had a lot to do with Wegman's failures. So, I mean, I think you're looking at, uh, you know, I think the best secondary in the country, in my opinion, from what I saw.
I like what
And
Freeman's done since
Wow.
he's come to Notre Dame. He's really changed a lot of
He's changed.
things.
Well, that's his mark.
Oh,
He's got the defense humming like a well-oiled machine. It's that offense that he can never seem to
well,
fix.
it doesn't help when you're bringing in a new transferred quarterback every single year. Like every
Mhm.
single year, you're bringing in
Yeah,
guys, so they're
but
not. It's
that's
it's a
his
whole
call.
new. It is his call, but at the same time, you're not developing your own guys up there. You're just transferring a guy in and hoping for success. Like they're taking a quarterback, just throwing it to the wall and see what sticks. You need to recruit some better top tier quarterbacks to come there that you can start building into your system, and that way you have a little bit of consistency at that position. Because the past 3 years, it's been three transfers that have come in.
it was odd too in this game. Riley Leonard going against his former head coach Mike Elko at Duke,
True.
and that it's kind of bizarre to me. Do you think Elko had a choice, or to bring in Riley Leonard if he wanted to, or was A&M like, no, we spent this much money on Connor Wegman, you are going to play him?
A&M's probably saying you will play who we tell you to play.
I
They
think so
said
too.
they have the same booster problem that Texas has.
And also, they just got rid of Jimbo Fisher.
Right.
They
Mhm.
got the reins are back in their hands again. They're not going to let it go for a while until they continue getting beat in major primetime games and don't even sniff the playoffs, and then they try to go out and go get Sarkisian or Kirby Smart, try to go get somebody but that's what they did when they went for Jimbo. It's just they swung and missed on who they actually went for.
Exactly. And then they gave out the dumbest contract extension in the history of
Yes.
professional, or well, in history of sports, including professional.
No, I think the Mets still got it topped because they're still paying.
They had no choice. They had no choice. I mean, I think it's hilarious. So
I still have to go take a shot.
Oh, it is.
yeah,
You got to.
I've got 9 more years of that. One other game that I wanted to talk about, and we touched on this. We last week we were really concerned what Clemson would be like. Dabo is
I don't
not.
think we were concerned. We knew this wasn't going to be a good team. We knew Dabo was not good in the NIL or transfer portal.
Right.
We
So,
knew
yeah.
he had no skills in that. So I
We just
mean,
wanted to see how well they were going to actually compete with Georgia.
I was
They're
curious to
gonna
see if Georgia was going to double the spread. That's what I was curious about.
And they did. And so what was a little interesting is they had Clemson's defense looked really solid in the beginning, and I still think it's a top level defense. The issue is when your offense is barely out there. There's only so many times you can stop a loaded Georgia team. I also think Carson Beck looked the part, even though I believe he's, in my opinion, probably the biggest tool there fucking is out there. But he was great. And Klubnik again, another 5-star quarterback. Just because you recruit a 5-star quarterback doesn't mean they're going to be 5 stars.
Very true.
So that's another setback that Clemson is going to have to deal with. And
well, the crazy thing too is Georgia was without its top 2 running backs and still has its third string Nate Frazier run for almost 100 yards on 11 carries and a touchdown.
Yeah, he was great, and I thought the offensive line was really solid for Georgia as well. But again, I think Clemson, they gave them a little trouble in the beginning, but just over time wore them down. But yes, I think Georgia still proved that they're the number one team going into the country this year for sure.
Yeah, I was just a little surprised to see right about at the end of the first quarter that the score was what it was.
I was shocked.
So close. I couldn't believe that, and I never once thought for a second that Clemson had a chance to win the game.
No,
but
I didn't either.
That it was where it was, because okay, eventually Georgia's going to turn it on. Is this just some, hey, let's get into the feel of it here? Caleb, as you said, hey, we're missing our 2 best running backs. Do we just need to kind of slow everybody in?
Right, and that
seems like they was kind of just taking their time. So it's like, is that Clemson's defense doing such a great job, or was it just Georgia just kind of the cat playing with a mouse? Like, I don't need to finish this off just yet. I'm just gonna take my time and warm
that
up.
was so
probably
weird.
a little bit of both, in all honesty, because I do think they started out trying to ease into this offense, and just get some basic plays being run, little dinking and dunking.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like they were missing ETN in the beginning of that game, but then as Caleb alluded to, Frazier just completely took over, as did Carson Beck. So really fantastic performance. And Clemson maybe could win the ACC because we're seeing how little depth that conference has. So even though they don't play by the NIL and transfer portal rules, they might still be talented enough to win the weaker
yeah,
conference.
that's gonna be yeah. Like I said, that's the one thing is who's coming out of that conference because you're guaranteed a first round bye if you win that conference.
I think. Miami looked really good. I think that was
Now,
granted,
true.
that's more of a function of how much in shambles the Florida program is right now.
Yeah, Florida looked a little rough in that game. I liked their safety. Harris had several good plays, I thought, for you. But man, yeah, Miami tore into Florida, but it also doesn't help that you lost your starting QB to a broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing, I don't
Mertz.
Graham Mertz. The injury with him. I don't think he's just in concussion protocol. He didn't break his leg or anything like that.
It looked bad leg wise.
But we're already at a point where Florida is in Hail Mary mode and have DJ Lagway be the starter. I think we're at that time. Cam Ward, the former Washington State great last year, who for a while had a lot of Heisman buzz. I think he has a chance to get that again.
Yeah, Miami definitely showed up.
Talking about the ACC, Boston College, 28, Florida State 13.
They drummed them. Florida State has no defense. Like they've had two teams, Georgia Tech and Boston College, both just run up and down the field on them. And DJ's looked horrible too. But I think part of his issues this past game were the fact that his O line was just not there. It was non-existent.
I don't know.
I thoroughly enjoyed when I flipped through the stations and saw this game and flipped over to see what the score was, and I just got a big smile on my face because Florida now, after getting dropped by both of these programs,
they're completely out of the top 25 now.
Completely gone, and they didn't even get a single vote, which they don't. They don't deserve it.
Yeah, they don't deserve it, and
look, they don't.
All the rushing that they gave up against Georgia Tech, you thought that was bad, but then 274 rushing yards to Boston College.
Like I said,
that is unbelievable.
They cannot stop the run at all. They just get bowled over.
No, and it's done for Florida
literally
State.
Bowling Green. Yeah,
and
that should be. Yeah, I like the memes that have come out. At least Florida State doesn't have to worry about that pesky playoff race now. They can concentrate.
Yeah, no kidding. And Bill O'Brien was a great debut there.
Yes, very true. Very true. And that defensive end. Let me look up his name real quick. He had a heck of a day. He had 2 sacks. Donovan Ziruka. He had a great showing on that left side, I think.
You can't say that 5 times fast.
You're right.
And yes, Donovan Izuraku or Izuraku.
Yes,
but
it is hard. But he had a great game.
And then, go ahead.
Not just that Florida State just looks atrocious. They're not a good football program, but this is kind of a vindication from the football gods. You threw this huge hissy fit, then you didn't come out and show out against Georgia, where you knew you were going to get blown out. You knew it was going to happen, but your guys sat out, in protest about what happened. And this is the football gods coming back to rain down on you, on top of just your team being terrible. Everything that they did at the end of last season is coming back to haunt them, and nothing can make me happier right now.
Right, and they lost. I think people really underestimated how much talent they lost. And we've we've joked about it, but it's obvious that DJ is not. He's just not a very good quarterback. It
But
just
yet,
didn't work
Dabu
out.
Swinney was able to get him to throw for 400 something yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions in his freshman year.
Yeah, I mean that's true. And then
Miracles.
and then Oregon State. He was okay. I don't think he was necessarily a game wrecker. And then this year he's been awful. But speaking of great quarterback play, I told you guys to watch out for USC. I told y'all to watch out for them this year, and
And what's
Miller Moss
crazy,
had a fantastic game.
Now, they played a Brian Kelly led LSU, so don't let it go to your head. Dude.
Oh, well, that's true.
yeah, but this is also a much better defense, I think, by USC too, which is the most surprising factor of this game to me. I mean, last year they were giving up 63 to San Jose State. They're holding LSU to 13.
It is improvement, but I to me LSU just completely vastly underperformed, which I've kind
Well,
of
their coach
expected
definitely
because
didn't feel good after when he gave his press conference and slammed his hand on the table and said, "We
I
fucking gave
didn't
it
see
away."
the press conference. Did he try to do it in his fake country accent?
No,
No,
unfortunately
no.
not.
Yeah,
But
He's
like
such a
missed
jackass.
opportunity, but
it,
Such a
and
jackass.
this goes back to even when he was at Cincinnati, even before Notre Dame. It was never his fault that he would always blame somebody else. It was never. It's not his fault. It's just the players didn't execute. They were ready to go and they didn't. They just didn't get it done. He's consistently thrown his players under the bus. Um, Going back at Cincinnati, and then not only how he treated players at Notre Dame, but how he left the program too without uh, saying goodbye or anything. Just an awful
yeah.
Yeah, he
way to
disappeared like
leave.
a fart in the wind.
Right. And I think Notre Dame is uh, looking pretty good because they didn't have to pay Freeman a lot. I think he's been a great fit there. And you want to talk about the opposite of a great fit is Brian Kelly in the South, and
Mm-hmm.
it's
It
not
doesn't look good so far
it's
last
not
season and the start of
good.
this season.
No.
And the other game I wanted to talk about real quick is just because of even though they won, they still lost. Oregon beating Idaho 24-14 and dropping 4 spots from they were third overall, dropping down into the 7th spot in the country.
Mhm.
And a lot of this was just because you barely beat Idaho. It's Idaho. It's the Vandals. They're not known for great football in Idaho. Why did what?
Wait, what? They're not?
You've got,
Yeah,
no.
I know.
Yeah. When was the last Idaho player you remember being drafted? He was a defensive
The
lineman.
great Spud. I don't know.
Oh, Idaho
He was
football.
a Tongan.
Yes, he was Mikey Opati.
There he is. Yep.
Mm.
First
It-
rounder.
Yeah, he was a first rounder.
What was that?
He's a good
3 years
player.
ago? 4 years ago?
That was longer than that. I
Yeah,
can't remember exactly.
right.
But that was shocking. And
I was very surprised when I saw what the final score was and then how far they dropped.
it was really weird because that
Blame
game
him.
was just 17-14, and they deserved to drop in the rankings. But I think Dylan Gabriel has a really good chance of winning the Heisman still for Georgia, or excuse me, Oregon. I keep saying Georgia. For Oregon,
Close.
41 of 49 for 380 yards and 2 touchdowns, but yet you only win 24-14. That's just bizarre to me. But yeah, shockingly close as Oregon, I believe, was approaching the 50-point favorite territory there.
Exactly. And with with the way that they had last season with Bo Nix and having Washington knock them out of where they thought they should be in a national championship race. They should have came out and stomped a mud hole in Idaho, put a stamp on at the beginning of the season like a lot of these other teams already did, like with Texas, Oklahoma State, or Colorado State.
Yeah.
Sorry, apologies. Like
Ole Miss,
Ole
Georgia.
Miss did with Furman,
Mhm.
Furman. It's you've got to beat the teams. If you're going to schedule the cupcakes, you can't barely beat them. You've got to stomp them. They're only coming to come play you to get the paycheck. They're not. I mean, if they win, that's great. But either way, they get paid.
Right.
So
And
you've gotta do
and also
that. You gotta
too,
win those
Oregon. Yeah, and also too, with them being in the Big Ten now, they're not going to get as many cupcakes as they did in the Pac-12. So,
No.
Yeah,
and,
very true.
and they play Boise State on Saturday, and that's not.
Yeah,
going
and
to
don't
be an
forget
easy-
Boise State. Nick Saban said he wanted to hire their coach as his offensive coordinator for a long time in Alabama, but couldn't get him. And also, speaking of Boise State, their running back Ashton Genty, 6 touchdowns, 271 yards this past game, with one of them being a 77-yard run back.
Yeah,
so he had himself a game, but they needed all his points just to win. So
I was about to say
Boise
that
State's
Georgia
not
Southern.
exactly world beater, but he had a heck of a game.
Everyone thought, that Boise State's defense would be improved because all their stars on defense are returning. But if they're no good, then it doesn't matter if they're coming back or not.
Right. You need the good people back.
Right.
Root for Boise State in that game, that's for sure. Well, but one last game we'll bring up before we move on to next this coming week's games is one that's a little near and dear to all of our hearts, and Texas A&M Commerce getting on the big TV.
Yay!
TV. They got drummed by San Diego State.
What was that? Hold on, what was that, Jeff? The channel of Lizard Lick Towing and
Hardcore
True TV.
Pond.
Hey,
we made it to the True
still
TV.
national TV.
I know. I'm not hating on it. I think it's great.
But yeah, they kept it really
You'll hate
close.
when the bananas
They were
come.
actually leading San Diego State going into the half until some costly turnovers, the pick six and the fumble recovery for a touchdown, just kind of sank the ship that we had going. But they looked good early. That was a good showing, especially at the very beginning of the game when the announcers, who seemed like they had never heard of A&M Commerce before, which they probably hadn't.
Probably
were
not.
talking
Yeah.
about this should be an easy win for San Diego State. Commerce really doesn't have any chance here. And then through halftime, Commerce was leading. So
Yeah, unbelievable. 6-3,
Yeah.
and they got their ass kicked at the end, but they still did the goal of covering the spread, and that's good for Commerce. Good for them.
Good shot.
Able to tell all the family up here in the Northeast, hey, turn on True TV. You can see my school.
Right. Which one are they? Yep. Oh, and I do want to bring up something before we move on, though. I don't want to talk about the game, but I do want to mention, since I said it was the week of the catch, Robert Carter Jr.'s interception against Robert Morris U. If you have not seen that highlight, please look it up.
He plays for Robert Morris.
Yes, that's what I said. For Robert Morris, yes.
Oh, no, you said
sorry
against Robert Morris.
Sorry, my
It's
bad.
okay.
The Robert Morris player.
Robert
yeah,
Morris,
I mean,
right
one-handed,
here,
like
right here in
360.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he was from Pittsburgh.
Robert Morris is Pittsburgh.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying Robert Carter was from there.
Robert Morris University is right up here, right outside of Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah. Just an amazing interception Mr. Carter had.
Let's go, Colonials.
All right, so next week we really only have one big game looking through there. So, I mean, if there's any other upsets, we'll talk about those next week. But
yeah, so I'm kind of sure to see Arkansas and Oklahoma State a little bit, but we'll see how it goes.
I doubt I'll even get that game up here, to be completely honest.
No, that's true. It's true. I mean, it's on ABC, so you might, but yeah,
Maybe.
we'll have to see.
But the big game
You-
is Texas heading up to Michigan. Number 3 and
Mhm.
number 10 going against each other in a big test here
Up
for
in
the
Ann Arbor.
Longhorns. And
It's gonna
hey,
be a
if
nice
you're
game day, though. I think the highest 67 is what's
if you're
projected.
gonna
So
have to play in Ann Arbor, you want to play in September. That's when you want
yes,
to play. It's going to be gorgeous weather. It's going to be beautiful. That's when you want to play. You don't want to play in Ann Arbor in December. You don't want to do it then. It's not fun.
yep.
September, definitely. That's when you want to play. This is the time to do it. And this is a statement game for Sarkisian's, you know, for his Longhorns. This is a game they need to come in and prove, hey, we are one of the best teams in the country. And this is how you do it. You come in to the reigning national champion, even though they don't have the coach, quarterback, running back, the defense. They don't have them anymore, but they're still the reigning college champions. And you go into their house and you beat them early in
And
the
the
season.
defense, most of it's returning. That defense, most of it returns. So that's the dominating factor that I think is going to lead Michigan over Texas.
Well, they're still losing a ton on defense.
They
They have
lost, but
a
you're not
handful
talking
of
as high profile as say your QB, your starting running back, and all these other people.
wide
you
receiver
mentioned.
too.
True, but
Mhm. But yeah, this could be a very interesting game. Like I said, I
think
mean, I'm obviously from Michigan, but I mean, Texas had its bright moments, like we said in Colorado State. So
and
I'm
let's
interested to
not
see how they
forget
do.
that
they won 52-0. What other bright moments? Well, they just had a couple bright moments.
Well, don't forget the interception by Quentin Ewers.
Okay, one interception.
I'm
but
just saying, there's bad moments too.
this Michigan
He-
Fresno
he's-
State
he's
game.
prone
You
to
have your
that,
you have your UT goggles on. I'm sorry, man. It's like your beer goggles. You just like the team, so
I do
Texas
like
is
the
a
team.
Jeff
Texas
is at
is a
least fair,
7
guys.
Texas is a 7-point favorite going into this game.
Yeah, and that's
exactly.
on the road too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Going into Ann Arbor.
the only thing that
As we've mentioned.
Michigan did not look good against Fresno State at all. That game was awfully close, and Fresno State was on the verge of making it 23-17 until Michigan got a pick six to close out and win 30-10. The only thing I'd be worried about if I'm Texas, it's this the identity of this game has really turned into Michigan having nothing to lose. If they lose the game, everyone anticipated it. They're
Well, they're
losing a
expected to,
ton.
yes, by Vegas and everybody,
They're
except for the Michigan fans.
they lost
Okay.
and you, and they lost a ton of talent as we discussed. And the way Texas looked, they really, I don't think, can afford to lose that game. That's pretty darn close for a must-win game for Texas, in my opinion.
If Michigan
Well,
wants to make
yeah.
to be a higher, as high as they can in the playoffs, I mean, the playoffs is expanded, so there's still a lot of opportunity. Even if Michigan does win this game, Texas, I still think has a chance, depending on what they do the rest of the season, of course, because I mean they've got some big games coming up later on with Georgia, and for one, that one's going to be
Mhm.
really, really rough. But
And the
there's
good old
still
Red River
opportunity
rivalry
to
still
get
there too.
But to me, Michigan needs this game to help propel them. I mean, even though they're in 10th right now, I think this is a game they need to show, hey, we're still here and competitive. It wasn't just,
It wasn't the
last year.
cheating. It wasn't just last year.
Yeah, it wasn't the cheating. It wasn't us cheating to win. Like, we're actually a good program now. So it's a must win, I think, for both early here in the college football season, even though it's only week 2.
And can you
Probably
imagine if
true.
Texas were to somehow lose the game? Everyone's going to be calling for Arch to come in.
Well, they would be
Well,
calling
that probably
Arch
depends
come in
more
and
on
Quinn
Quentin
Ewers
Ewers like
throws.
play on.
If he throws 2 interceptions, loses a couple of fumbles, and that's why they lose, then yes.
Right.
I mean, if it's just a really good defensive effort, maybe the Quinn Ewers has a decent game, but most of the missed passes or dropped passes by his receivers that he hits them in the hands or something, and they drop them, and it's really comes down, or like it's the interceptions are because of tip balls instead of actual him just throwing it right to the defender. I think there's a case. It just depends on how Ewers looks in the game. If they do lose, if he looks good, and it's in those situations I just spoke of, I don't think people are going to be calling for his head as of just yet. But if he comes out there and he's throwing, he looks like a deer in headlights. He looks like Sam Darnold going against Bill Belichick, where he's just seeing ghosts everywhere. Then
Yeah.
yeah, I think Arch Manning calls are going to get really, really loud at that point. But yeah, just a quick run through of the top 10 and just a few surprising here in this coming week. Of course, Georgia State's at number 1, Ohio State at number 2. Texas has moved up 1 spot to number 3, and Alabama up 1 spot to take the number 4 position. Notre Dame jumped up 2 spots. They are now number 5 in the country. Ole Miss stays strong at 6. Oregon,
Yeah, I don't know how Notre Dame jumped Ole Miss, but
They
name
went to
factor,
A&M and
Notre
won.
Dame. It's Notre
it's
Dame.
A&M. A&M sucks.
I don't
It's
think
Notre
they
Dame
suck.
sucks too.
But they're also a
Notre
ranked
Dame doesn't
opponent.
suck.
They're a ranked
Yes, they
opponent,
do.
so that's why.
Yeah, I
Oregon,
guess so.
we'll go through. I'll ask you your surprises here in a minute. Let me finish the list. 7,
All right.
Oregon jumping 4 spots. Penn State staying at 8. Missouri jumping 2 spots at 9. And at 10, Michigan dropping down a spot. The other surprising ones I've wrote down, jumping up 7 spots, Miami up to 12 in the country. USC going up 10 spots, the highest jump in early in the season, going to 13. And then you have Iowa, who went up 4 to 21, and now down at 25th, you have Clemson after their loss. So they dropped down quite a bit. But Georgia Tech, I believe, is now up at 23, and they were unranked.
You are correct. Yep. Welcome to the rankings, Georgia Tech.
God, it's been a long time for Georgia Tech.
Long time.
Mm-hmm.
I was really impressed with Penn State.
And that's surprising that Georgia Tech's kind of in there, in all honesty, because they have one win. They played one game, and you happen to beat Florida State, who everybody says is really bad now.
Well, hey, they beat Georgia
They're
State
the
as
reason
well.
why everyone saw how bad they were.
Them and Boston College, both, though.
True, but with Boston College win, to me, was a little bit more. I think Boston College should have had the nod before them, but then again, I don't know where they were ranked.
Right.
Which you don't really know at that point.
I thought
true.
Penn State looked really good on Saturday. I think going into Morgantown, West Virginia to start the year, that's a tough place to play. Drew Aller, who's a potential top 10 pick in this draft, looked really, really solid. And Nick Singleton was strong in the running game as well. And it looks like that Penn State, with Harrison Wallace, they actually have a receiver for a change. So I think Penn State was a team that I was really impressed with. Those in the top 10 there.
Yeah, they started a little slow. Looked like they eased into it, but they did finish extremely strong. And
very true.
Penn State can be good. That just leads to a good Penn State Ohio State match, which is always fun to watch.
Which will be played in Happy Valley.
And Utah, I think, is favored right now to win the Big 12.
Utah.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still really like Kansas State, though.
Yeah, the Utes. Yeah, Kansas. Yeah, you can't count Kansas State out for sure. But that'll be an interesting little see how the season goes.
Surprising thing. And also, these new teams of the Big 12 will find out that strange things happen in Ames, Iowa.
Yes. They will. And speaking of weird things happening in Iowa, how did Iowa score 40 points in any game?
Dude, I'm telling you, people were calling Iowa going like last week. People are going Iowa. That's what I said. They jumped up 4 spots. They went from 25 to 21. They're moving their way up. Watch
Yeah.
out for the Hawkeyes this year.
Illinois
If they can
State.
match that, if they can match a decent offense with that defense they have, they will be very, very good team.
Hey, that's the team that I'm keeping my eye on. That's my dark horse team. I'm going to watch them. I'm going to keep it.
Well, I'll say
Track
that
on
they
all
do
season.
have. I mean, they do have Cade McNamara, who on paper or coming out of high school, was a real solid player and the starter at Michigan until JJ McCarthy beat him out. But again, Iowa looked very much like Iowa in the beginning of that game when it was 6-0 at the half. So I'm not going to
I'm jumping on the
get the
bandwagon just
anointing
yet.
out. No, not bringing out the anointing oil for Iowa yet.
Yeah. Well, for me, besides Ole Miss somehow getting jumped by Notre Dame, I'm kind of surprised Missouri's up this high so early. They're usually the butt of the SEC. I mean, they got a good team, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of surprising that they've got this much clout when they've
It
been
is,
bad.
but they're
Long time
but
Missouri in the top 10. Long time.
right. But it's just yes, but they're returning so much this year. Luther Burden is he's one of the best receivers in college football. They got a great defense too, very well coached, and also I think what's going to be uh, beneficial for Missouri is they're kind of going to avoid uh, a murderer's row type schedule in the SEC, so they might be able to sneak in. They would have a chance. I'm not going to say it's absolutely ridiculous if you saw Missouri to in that SEC championship game. I don't think it would be out of the realm of possibility at all.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about as much college football as we can here through this point. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back here in just a few moments. The next round. All right. Good job, guys.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Get your refills. We're going to
All
NFL
right.
next. That's going to take a while.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll be right back.
Where the fuck are you, Jeff? You fall in?
Bottom of the sixth, Rangers up 7-2.
Nice.
And did you see our lineup for tonight?
No, since I
Josh
can't get any of the
Smith-
Rangers games, I
Josh
just
Smith is leading off. Wyatt Langford's in the two spot. Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia, Young, Jonah Heim, Tavares, Duran, and Janikowski. No Simeon, no Seager, and we're beating the Yankees 7-2.
pretty good. See who's pitching. Oh, Valdi's pitching.
Baldy,
6 innings, 2 earned
Rangers
runs,
leading
5 Ks.
7-2. Bottom of the sixth.
What is it?
We'll call it a comeback.
7-2.
Rangers lead.
Rangers over the Yankees.
All right.
And okay, here's the lineup. Okay, Josh Smith, Wyatt Langford, Nathan Lowe, Garcia, Young, Heim, Tavares, Duran, Janikowski. And we're winning 8-2. We just scored.
And yeah, and this is
This one's on Prime
Arguably-
Video. Weird.
this
But-
is arguably the best offense in baseball, or one of the.
If I'd have known that, I never would have been watching the fucking Royals and Guardians. I've got Prime Video, motherfucker.
I know how much you love that AL Central action.
That's all I can fucking get up here. AL and NL Central. Even then, I can't even get Pirate games.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah,
You know. But it's the same
that's all
kind of
right.
thing
They
with
lost
Dallas.
12-0 to the Cubs today.
They were going for the sweep against the Cubs.
Huh? Well, the Cubs
Yeah.
came back with a vengeance then.
Well, Skeens pitched last night and just completely like waved his nuts all over the Cubs' face, like all over Wrigley Field.
Right. Mm-mm.
That works for me. Let's see. Oh, that Cubs game was a no hitter.
Oh shit. Hmm.
Of course, seems like every no hitter now is a combined no hitter.
Yeah. It's not as impressive.
Gosh, that was close. Though. I mean, Imanaga went through. Let's see, he went 7, and then he didn't. I don't know. It's just the way it is. We're just not going to let these young guys finish.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
Cleveland Chief.
Don't you tell me what to do.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Try to pull up 506. Why did Houston have to get good again?
Motherfucker. Unavailable due to restrictions.
Really? Is that the
Mother-
Prime Video or is that the Pirates game or what?
Prime. Unavailable due to regional restrictions. That is some bullshit.
Are they just using what, like in Texas, like, or just your old location?
Right, yeah.
Location now. I have to watch with MLB TV. Start your 7-day free trial. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
And it says it's on Prime Video. But that's fucking weird that it says it's got a regional blackout in your area. That'd make it seem like it's on one of the TV channels you have.
Yeah, it says unavailable Prime broadcast Yankees television territory.
Oh. Well, Rangers, I know why Seager's not in the lineup anymore.
You heard
Apparently
me?
he's got a hip issue and is on the injured list.
Oh, great. Well, that just ruined my fucking evening.
Yeah, Amazon has a way of doing that, unfortunately.
Tomorrow, it's got Rangers, Angels. It's like, God, I'm going to get to watch the Rangers game. This is awesome.
Right.
But apparently, the Dodgers are at the Angels. And yesterday, when they put up Otani's name to bat, they put a guy who used to work here.
I heard that.
Too funny.
It's just like, well, sorry, Angels, you had the two best players in baseball, didn't do shit. Don't know what to say.
Right.
When
It's
does
like,
Trout?
not our problem.
When is he going to just say enough's enough?
I don't think
Well,
he will.
I think
Care
so.
about actually winning.
I think he will. I think he could now, but also too, it's gotten to the point with Trout where he's just not been very healthy lately. Uh, I mean, really, the last time he played like a full season was like 5 years ago. It depends on. Let's see. Yeah, 2022, 119. That's the most he's played since 2019. So he's really not even like healthy a lot.
Mm-mm. It's just nuts.
Alrighty.
Right, otherwise,
Well, we should probably start though.
I think that's what we need to start.
We talking NFL now?
Yes.
Correct.
Hmm.
Where am I heading? 4, 3, 2. And welcome back from the break as we're ready to get into the next round. And here in the next round, we're ready to go into NFL football. It gets started tomorrow night, and the anticipation's over. We're back. The NFL
It's
season
time.
is here. Everyone's got their fantasy football teams drafted, and they're ready to get underway with Kansas City and Baltimore kicking off tomorrow night,
Mm-hmm.
Thursday, September 5th.
NBC and Peacock. Yep. KC is favored by 3 at the moment, too. Although I'm kind of surprised the over-under is 47 points this early in the season, but I guess they're expecting at least both teams to score 20 points this game.
Yeah,
I'm
the
hoping
thing-
Kansas City doesn't, but we'll see.
Right, yeah. Usually Kansas is bad early on, so hopefully the Ravens can at least take this one. Although if we give this one up and take the one in the playoffs, I'll be okay with that.
I think this is going to be a really good game. I think it's you get the rematch of the AFC Championship. I think, but the issue I go back to is I don't know. I just don't fully trust Derrick Henry on this
How
team. I
can you
just
not
don't-
trust the king?
He was the king. He's 30 years old now, and
He is.
You're not trusting the tread on the tires. You think he's going to be slipping a little bit.
yeah,
That's what he's
and
thinking for sure.
And he started to slip last year. Look, still heck of a running back. Still a great year last year, 1,100 yards. But I think it's only just going to go downhill from here. And again, that's not a knock on Henry. It's just the reality of the running back position in the NFL. And again, another
not wrong
problem
there.
with this team is who's Lamar Jackson going to throw to? I guess
You
Zay
watch your
Flowers-
mouth.
Zay
Zay
Flowers,
Flowers,
and who
Rashad
else?
Bateman, Nelson Aguilar. They're all
We
up
have
there.
been waiting for 4 years now for Rashad Bateman to get going, and he's
Oh,
done
I know.
jack shit.
Trust me,
Mark
I know
Andrews.
we've waited a long time for this mofo. But I'm thinking this game's going to open up a little more. So,
Yeah, he's still got Mark Andrews who's coming back.
yep.
Going to be
And
healthy.
Isaiah Likely,
Well, that's
too.
the key.
You
Can
could be
he
running
play?
2 tight end
Say-
sets. What do you mean
And
is that
who
the
I've
key? Can he
drafted-
stay healthy? He had one injury
That's
last
fine.
year.
If he doesn't stay healthy, that's fine. Because in both of my leagues, I drafted Isaiah Likely after I watched what he did last year. I've got Isaiah
Yeah.
Likely.
Like I said, I'm
fully
thinking there's going to
full
be
in
2
on-
tight end sets a lot of times with Zay Flowers and Bateman on the edges there, because that gives you great blocking for running the ball, and
Mhm.
they have 2 great tight ends.
It
Why
is.
not kind of parody the old Patriots offense when they had Aaron Hernandez and Gronk and those 2 tight ends run at the same time?
And you don't have to worry about Isaiah Likely allegedly right now trying to kill people. So that works for you.
Plus, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm expecting to win. I just am. And part of that is my Ravens goggles are on. They're in full purple mode, blasting down the highway. What's crazy too is Rice has no stipulations against him, the wide receiver for the Chiefs, after doing the hit and run in Dallas and I think punching a lawyer this offseason.
He's going to go to jail.
He has no punishments this year. They're putting it off till next year, when they can do their investigation, is what they said.
He'll
Well, it
serve.
takes a year to do a full, investigation when you've got, and punch your lawyer, which people are around to see, and there's
Yeah, and you got camera footage.
from an accident, a hit and run. But
Oh, but yeah. So I mean, hey, he's still with the Chiefs. The Browns got a shoulder injury he's dealing with right now. Derrick Henry is going to be basically our only running back.
got Justice Hill though.
Yeah, besides Justice Hill, and I don't mean that to say I'm down on Justice Hill. I liked him last year; he had a great year. But it's just kind of interesting to see the injuries you already have coming into this year still too. And I'm also interested. It's kind of funny too. I know we're not going to talk about it too much more, but Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are both on the Chargers now.
Yeah,
So
because
the
J.K.
old
Dobbins
running
is
back
like
were
missed
back.
every single year.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying it's just weird that both of them wound up going to the Chargers. That's the basically last year's running back quartet
Those two were more
is now
injury
for the
prone than
Chargers.
Mike Trout.
Well,
Yes.
Dobbins is, Edwards not so much, but yes.
Let's see.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to. I think Xavier Worthy. I want to see what he.
I want to
does
see
with
the
the
bets
team.
on the over under for how many times we see Taylor Swift up in the Bucks, though. That's what I want to see for the
I was
bet.
going to bring that up. I was going to ask you guys, what's your over under for how many times there's going to be a Taylor Swift comment or picture of her?
I'm going at least 5 because of the craziness surrounding the hype video the NFL released, which had more showings of Taylor Swift than Joe Burrow or
Yes.
Patrick Mahomes in the video.
I saw there was a list of quality players that didn't get in the hype video, but Taylor
Yeah.
Swift got in there a few times.
Right.
But
I mean, I don't
understand
care
why.
personally, but
They're
it's just like,
trying
what-
to bring the Swifties in as NFL fans. It's
Oh,
an
yeah.
untapped market. This is
It
the
is.
untapped market for the NFL. They've got to hit it as hard as they can.
My wife is down
Hopefully they make
freaking
more
cheese.
Well,
fan.
probably the NFL has a problem with hitting women, unfortunately, as hard as they can. That's led to many
The
problems.
players,
So-
not the organization. The players have done
Yes,
that.
I know.
But they want this is an untapped market. It's more money coming into their coffers, and if Goodell's happy about anything, it's more money.
That's
all
why
I
he's a
want.
puppet. But yes.
Oh yeah, you're like the Commanders, dude.
Yes, and we'll go ahead and bring that out. Go ahead and since you guys already brought it out front already. The big story that happened today in the NFL is the Washington Commanders suspended their VP of content, Rael Intine. He had met an undercover reporter on a dating website, went out on two dates with her, and while being recorded, talked about how the Washington team players were anti-gay, that Jerry Jones ran the NFL, but he's a racist and anti-gay, and that Roger Goodell is nothing more than a $50 million puppet to Jerry Jones, who actually runs the NFL. And
I mean, like we said, I don't think he said anything wrong.
well, I don't think Jerry Jones is racist by any means. I don't know how he feels about the gays, but
Right.
I know he's not racist. I've seen what he's paid. He brought Ezekiel Elliott back after he banished him away, and the way he pays his guys, he's paid CeeDee Lamb. He wants
He
to
gave
be.
Zeke the most ridiculous
no
contract
way.
ever.
Yeah.
no
I
way
mean, we're
Jerry
talking
Jones
payment
is
here. You got to watch out for that Clippers kind of comparison there too.
No, he's not Donald
Sterling.
Sterling.
He's not Donald Sterling.
Well,
in
I'm just
any way.
saying,
He's
just
not
because
saying,
you
"Hey,
pay
boy,
somebody
come over
money
here." He's not doing
doesn't
that.
mean that you're not racist. But
No, there's
Donald
no
Sterling
way.
was a racist. Jerry
Yes, for
Jones
sure.
is not.
Jerry Jones is
Okay.
not a racist. If you're calling Jerry Jones a racist, that's just completely absurd. Now, if you're calling him anti-gay, you can probably get him on that because honestly, I don't know his beliefs or seen anything of him showing either way. I don't know,
right.
but I've never seen anything Jerry Jones has done as racist by any means.
And
That's
they
true.
did bring in Michael Sam.
If he was as racist, if he's
Yep.
racist, why does Michael Irvin have his back and Dion have his back like hardcore?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. They love Jerry, and
Mhm.
Jerry loves them.
Yeah, so
I can agree with that.
to me has now I'm not.
Although
gonna
again,
argue
just because you have black friends does not make you unracist
saying that.
either.
I'm just saying. that
I
the
know.
two-
I'm just saying. Like, we just want to clear that up for
Now, I
everyone.
won't argue anything.
Like,
about
I agree
Goodell.
with you what you're saying. but
Goodell is a puppet. I will not argue that by any means. He is a
Mhm.
complete puppet. But this
yeah,
VP
we've seen it in his rulings.
has been suspended. The Washington came out and said that these comments are not part of our organization. We're part of inclusivity, whatever. But they've sent him out of there, and with the new
Mhm.
with the new ownership that just took over after they finally got Snyder out. This is definitely not what they were wanting here early
No.
on. A big controversy here in the up in the front office right before the season gets underway. Literally a day before the season gets underway. When you've
Yeah,
got
they
new
just
head
can't.
coach,
Well,
new
that's actually good
ownership.
news for them is that it's happening the day before the season because once the season starts, fuck the news. It's gonna get buried. I mean, it'll
Well,
get brought up and they'll try to talk about it, but it will get buried once the season
being that it's
starts.
the VP of content, which what that's actually a position you can have,
Yeah, it
but
seems rather vague.
that could makes it easier to get out than if it wasn't like if it was the new one of the new owners saying it, or if it was if it was I forgot what I was gonna say who else it was.
Well, I mean, like if it was
If it was
like
Dan
Josh
Quinn,
Harris, or Dan Quinn.
if it was
I
Dan
mean,
Quinn that said it, okay, now you got something there to really talk about. But I
that'd
definitely
be
could see it
amazing
getting
if
pushed
Dan
out.
Quinn just went off like that, and then Jerry in particular.
If Dan Quinn went
Yeah.
off on Drew, I just don't see Dan Quinn doing that. He's
No,
not
I
that kind
don't.
of guy.
He's a
The
good
premise
guy.
is the premise
I'm not
is
saying he's a good
absolutely
guy. I just think like even
ridiculous.
if he got pissed about that, he'd just be like, "I'm just gonna go out and beat your team on the field."
Right.
Like I'm not gonna sit there and like
Well,
talk
that
about
doesn't
this.
follow with Dan Quinn's track record, unfortunately.
No, that doesn't. It hasn't. Not as a head coach, at least.
Yep.
But he also has Kyle Shanahan. Not Kyle Shanahan. He has what's his name? Um,
For who? Who are you
no,
thinking?
his offense coordinator.
Cliff.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury. That's what it
Kingsbury.
was. He's got Kingsbury there, so
Mhm.
maybe he'll actually be a loyalty man like Shanahan was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
But anyways, now that we've got the drama out of the way,
Back to
uh,
foot.
Yeah, I want to bring up actually I want to bring up Friday's game and get y'all's take on this.
that's actually where I was going next. Was
Because
on Friday's game.
yeah,
The Friday's
because
game is
my
Green Bay
favorite fact
Phillies.
about this game so far with the
Mhm.
Eagles and Packers is neither team can wear green because of rivalries and gangs in Brazil.
I brought that up to so many people. This game's in
I
Brazil.
know. You picked the
Apparently,
two teams that have green as one of their main
yes.
colors to go down to Brazil.
One thing worse is
Oh,
if you'd have the Jets go down there with them.
yeah.
Because yes, green is a gang color in Brazil, and the teams have been told do not wear green or you will be attacked by gang members. So what does
Right.
the NFL do? They send two teams that are green to Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
The Eagles
okay,
are wearing their all white uniforms during the game. I know that much. I don't know what the Packers are wearing.
but if they're gonna wear something, they need to wear the old school like brown, blue, and yellow.
And that may
Those
be what
terrible
they do.
ugly. They might have
Yeah.
to. But the
Right.
fact is, who in the NFL went down and said this was a good idea? Like who
This
signed
is
off on that?
idiotic to
Yeah.
go to Brazil. And also, too, what makes it even
We're
more
gonna
It's not
take all
idiotic
idiotic.
the
to go to
NFL into
Brazil.
South America. Well,
Just
why don't you do some fucking research and go,
exactly. That's
hey,
the key. Because
what's
the
going
NFL
oh,
is just like,
there's
oh, okay.
gangs around here because you're in fucking Brazil where there's not the same safe havens that you have in the United States. Oh, well, what are colors of this? Oh, green's bad. Okay,
Yeah.
well,
Or it's
hey,
like when Blood and
green's
Crips
bad.
were big in the U.S., man.
Yes.
Like, you don't wear red, you don't wear blue.
No,
Or
in
vice
certain
versa in different
no.
territories. Like,
In the 90s, you didn't do that. So
yeah,
it's
you
like,
got to
okay,
learn these things.
hey, oh, green, you're not supposed to wear green in Brazil. Like the Brazilian people going, who they met with in Brazil goes, we'd love to have him here, but just so you know, we have a gang problem and green's the color, so don't wear that. The NFL's like, oh, in Philly, Green Bay, that's awesome.
Mm.
Yeah. And another
Yep.
thing that
Really, you
pisses me off.
send well, it should have been you send. You should
Like,
send
send the
Denver and Las
Cowboys
Vegas.
or, yeah, Denver. Yeah,
Denver, Las
somebody.
Vegas. You'd had nothing to worry about there.
Anybody who's not green is a primary color.
Yes.
especially when both teams have green as their primary color.
You could have had Carolina, New Orleans down
Yeah.
there and been fine.
Right. And
Right.
so that kind of brings me to my next point is you put the Packers and the Eagles there, two of your most recognized franchises, and you're going to have this game in Brazil, but yet you're not going to have people watch it unless if you have Peacock. It's not even available on NBC.
No,
Yep.
it's not. It's Peacock only.
Yep.
And why
This
would you
is-
do that?
Because the NFL cares about money. That is the only thing they care
And
about is
they-
the almighty
They
dollar, as
fully
Porter likes to
expect
say.
that People will buy Peacock if they don't already have it, like I do.
Well, that's what Peacock. Yes.
I'm so
but,
bitter.
see, I don't
I'm so
remember- I
bitter at
mean-
Peacock about them lowering the price right before the playoff game, and we got it
Oh,
earlier
yeah.
in the day, and then right after
Right.
the game they lowered it down like to like $20. I was like, mother.
Right.
Mhm. Yep.
But
But that's
I
not
just,
here though.
yeah, but I just think I just, it's one thing to have like a lower
I mean,
level
this whole
matchup
year
on
though is
Peacock,
going to
but-
be. This whole year is going to be about streaming services. You've got Thursday with fucking Amazon Prime, most of it. You have at least 3 to 4 games that are only available by Peacock. Some of those during the holidays. You have a game, the Christmas game with the Ravens on Netflix is the only way to watch it. So I
and they're
mean,
gonna have a playoff game too.
yes. So I mean, this is just the NFL saying, "Fuck normal people. We're going to all these various streaming services. You've got to pay for it,
Right.
Because they get a
or
cut
get
from it.
or get the Sunday ticket." Those are your two options, basically.
Which is now available only on YouTube TV.
Correct.
Yes.
And then also
Very
too,
true.
it's got to the point now where
If you're on
there's
YouTube TV, I recommend to get on it. It's actually really good.
Oh yeah, YouTube
Although
TV
it's
is not a
more
bad
expensive
product
than
for
what it was
sure.
when I first got it.
Yeah,
right. But
Very
another
true.
thing, I mean, really, it's Sunday Ticket. I just don't know how attractive it is because there's so many games that are nationally televised or prime time or played different days of the week. It's just that you're really in the
yeah.
grand
'Cause, I
scheme
mean,
of
you got
things not
several
getting a
2 of them
whole lot.
Saturdays. No,
Well,
'cause, I
what
mean, like you said,
makes
you're
it-
getting several Sunday night, Monday night, and if you happen to have any of the streaming services, you can potentially get Thursday night. You got games coming on Saturday this year. There's like 3 or 4 Mondays that have 2 games for some reason that are on nationally televised TV. So yeah, there is a lot that's going to be on national
Well, what I
television
think
this
is
year.
eventually going to happen is the rumor that came out when YouTube said they were taking over the whole NFL package, and that they were looking or exploring the idea of making it where you could be an a la carte, that you could pick your team, so you wouldn't have to pay the full price to get all the games, but you could get your
Yeah.
own team. And that's what's going to need to be, because I don't think a lot of people are going to go ahead and purchase it for the fact that, if you guys just said, you're going to have all these games on these different streaming services. Well, I'm already paying for Amazon Prime, so I know I'll get that one. I've already been paying for Netflix here, so I know I'll get that one. Maybe I'll get Peacock, maybe I won't, depending on what games are going to be on there. I already
Yeah,
have
or just go
Peacock.
to the bar.
Yeah, or go to the bar. I've already got Peacock, so I know I'll get those because I have those for English Premier League. So I already know I'm going to
Yeah.
get those games. It's fine. But when they see that they're not getting the return on investment on that, I think that they're going to explore that option, because a little money is better than no money. And that's why a lot of the price of YouTube went up, is because they're also paying for getting all this NFL packaging in. And I think that with all these different streaming services, the way everything's breaking up, that option is going to be coming out sooner, that you could actually get an a la carte version where
I mean,
if
that
you
would
don't
be
understand, like,
amazing if it happens, but
I
from
know,
what I
that'd be
understand,
really
the
cool.
lower
I
teams that don't have as many fans fight that because they can get a bigger part of the pie from the price you pay for the Sunday ticket. It's like your Cowboys would love it because they're America's team. They're people all over are going to buy that one.
I would
But the
love that,
Browns,
that,
only
yeah.
Cleveland's going to buy that. I mean,
Well,
they're not getting a lot of people outside that
That's
market.
also the thing that's different, is you've got, and this happened when I lived in the Dallas area. There were different pockets, different bars that were the Steelers watching area, the Browns watching area. This is where you came to watch games this far paid
Yeah.
Sunday ticket to be able to get so you could actually watch your team's games. And they had a big thing. I think that could be
Yeah,
very
there's a
beneficial.
was it Jeff the Wizards local bar around here is the Chiefs bar.
Yes.
So I mean, and let's also not forget too that the NFL is being sued for their Sunday ticket right now, and actually lost the lawsuit where they have to pay bars and consumers a certain amount of money that they're appealing, of course, because it's an
Yes,
astronomical amount of money.
And then apparently it's gone up in price since then.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people aren't going to pay for that. And it's going to come where they need to have another option. That yeah, it's still going to be expensive to get it, but it's going to be a better deal than paying like $500, $700 for the NFL Sunday ticket. If you could pay $150 and you're going to get your team,
Mm-hmm.
more people are going to do that. And if you got more people doing it, you're actually making more money than what you would with the whole $500, $700 full package.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense to us, and we would obviously like it, but
It would, because as you said,
I don't know
there's
if it's
Cowboy
going to
fans
happen.
everywhere. I'm a Cowboy fan here in Pittsburgh. I don't get every single game. If I could pay $150 for the year and I know I could watch every single game, to
Mm-hmm.
me, that's great. But I don't want to pay $700 to get the Cowboy games. Yeah, it's great to get every other game, but there's a lot of games I don't really give two shits at seeing. So why am I paying for games I
Mm-hmm.
don't care to watch? I'd rather
Well, it's the
pay for
same
the
problem we have down here in the NFC East, where we have to watch the Commanders and Giants almost weekly because they're in the division.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why I get to watch your team's games up here because they're in the division. I'm going to get to watch the Cowboys
This week, yeah.
because they're playing Cleveland.
Yep. Like I said, this
That's
week
great
it's
about
good
getting it.
for
Like I
us
said,
because you'll get more games. We'll get more of our games nationally televised around here, or locally televised, I should say. Excuse me. Just because we are playing the AFC or AFC North, and the NFC East are going against each other.
but yeah, if you could get that, so many people are spread out now around the country. Not all the fan bases are where they are. I mean, it's
Right.
even more spread out than what it was years ago. That doing an a la carte system, you're going to get that. Jeff, for $150, you're going to pay that to be able to watch every single Bengal game.
Sure. Yeah. I
So
mean,
you have, in Caleb, you would do it for every Baltimore game. Just so
Mhm.
you'd be able to get to see them. And you do that, that's just 3 here. You look all over. I mean, there's Steeler fans all over the damn place. There's fans of every team and every other place that you're gonna find. They
Yeah.
do all these. They did all these advertisements last year of like Miami Dolphin fans over in Arizona. Oh, get the Sunday ticket. Well, you know what? Some people aren't gonna pay that, especially with the way
right.
inflation's been. So you give them another option. You've got some money coming in, and some money's better than no money. And if you've got that many more people who will pull the trigger because, oh, I'm only paying $150 and I get to watch my team instead of $700 to watch
Mhm.
every game. Well, a lot of people don't want to care to watch every game. They just want to watch their team. That's it. They just want to watch their team. That's it.
Right.
No, no.
To me, it makes perfect sense. Business sense.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I like the idea. I'm just saying I think some of the smaller market teams have fought it. The NFL's in their lawsuit. It's probably going to be a while before
True, and
anything
I
like
can see
that
them
kind of
fighting it,
happens.
but it just depends on the breakdown with them and everything. But I like if it. I don't know how they break it down, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, you'd be upset if oh well, I'm only you pay for your 150, but the majority of that goes to that
Yeah.
team. Yeah, that wouldn't be
Well,
fair. It'd have to be
before
a
we delve into the hole that we're going to go down, I think let's get back to the games.
True, yeah, we've gone down this rabbit hole far enough.
Yeah, I was like, before we start talking actual money and start trying to divide up the NFL's pocket,
No,
be like,
I'm
this is
not
how
brave
it can
enough to
fucking
do
work.
that. They can deal with it themselves.
Right.
Let the
But
puppet handle
like you
it.
said, though, the Cowboys are going against the Browns. Deshaun Watson making his another start again.
Miles Garrett going to be running down Dak Prescott all fucking game. Oh, good God! With this
Yep.
line, this is a test
Yeah.
for this
That's
off the bat.
going to be the key. It's if
Yep.
they can contain Miles Garrett. I think if they
I'm
can,
not worried
then
about Deshaun Watson. I'm worried
oh,
about
he's
the
done.
defense.
He's done.
Yeah, I mean, at least you don't have to go against Chubb, but it is Ford who's also a good running back.
Ford has been
Who's the
very
lead back there?
serviceable since he's come in. He's looked really good. He
Mhm.
looks really, really good. So yeah, Ford
Yep.
I'd worry about because that's what they're gonna have to run. But I'm curious to see if they're gonna get any production out of Jerry Jeudy whatsoever.
Yep.
Man, I don't know.
Amari
Yeah.
Cooper did a good job once he got up there. So I worry about Amari, but I know they're gonna focus on Amari. But which means Judy's gonna be left a little bit more open. Is he gonna be able to try and revive himself? Is this change of scenery gonna help him here? Because Deshaun
Yeah.
Watson is not what he was in Houston. I mean, 2 years off because of all the scandals and allegations coming against him. But I don't think he's near the player that he was. I still think Houston flees Cleveland for that. But
Oh, 100%.
defensively,
Especially with that initial contract.
with the Cowboys coming in with this new defensive philosophy with Dan Quinn leaving, and Zimmer back. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think they can handle them, on that side of the ball. But
Yeah.
with all the
So-
retooling of this offensive line, and you've got Myles Garrett running through.
Yeah.
the
Like I
freaking
said, I mean,
offensive
Vegas thinks this is a
Putting
toss up
people's
pretty
head in
much
place.
with a small edge, 2.5 to your Bengals or to the Browns, excuse me. Yeah.
But you usually get 3 points as the home team. So doing 2.5, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. But
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
huge.
going to be watching this game, but I'm not. If the Cowboys lose, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised at all.
Right.
But I want them to win as a fan. But this is
Yeah.
going to be a rough game just because of the defense we're going against. Cleveland is one of the top defenses in the league. Myles Garrett is one of the top defensive players in the league, and I don't know how this line's going to stop him. Just the way they've put
It's
it
a good
together.
question.
We'll see. I mean, they're gonna be tested. That's for sure. So we'll see what happens. I've got no
Very
prediction
true.
on it. I really have no prediction on this game because I have no
Just
idea.
a toss up.
It's
Dallas-
a toss up right now. I have no idea with everything they've had to do with this offensive line. I can't tell you. I just have no idea. There's too many what ifs on this team right now for me to give up. I'll make a guess.
Right.
Next week after I've actually seen them play, and I can actually say, hey, this is what I saw. I can actually get a good idea of going into the game too. But I have no idea, no clue. Flat out,
And we'll
honestly,
have the
no idea.
debut of Brady
Yeah, this week.
in Dallas or in Cleveland.
in Cleveland.
Right.
And I tell you right now, Brady's going to bomb. It's going to be epic proportions bad.
I have no idea what to expect. I mean,
Yeah.
I've
But
heard,
there-
I've
but
heard him
the
doing
thing
some
is-
of his talking, and he sounds like a fucking robot, man.
$37.5 million for that.
They paid for the name. They paid that people will tune in because it's Tom Brady.
That is
People don't tune into
insane.
the announcers; they tune into the games.
Right. But these announcers now, Brady, these announcers are already overpaid, but then Brady, I mean, good God, that's
Well,
just.
we saw with the whole reshuffling of the announcers that everybody
Mhm.
started paying everybody because they had to because of the big contracts that went out. But
Right.
I don't-
Romo started all of that.
Romo started all of it, and then Romo actually coming out and people liking what he did of actually breaking
Right.
it down. He's not going to be able to do that as well as he did earlier in his broadcast career because he's so far out of the game now. But
Right.
at the same time, he's starting to adjust himself and do things a little bit differently to keep himself relevant with that. But I don't think we'll ever see that again as far as play-by-play guys and getting this amount of money after Brady. I think Brady's the last one to get this kind of deal. I don't think it's going to ever happen again because they're going to see it's the games that people tune into, not the actual talent talking the games
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
that brings people in. I mean, when you had Pat Summerall and John Madden, you didn't tune in to hear them talk. You tuned into the game, and just having them talk was like the icing on top of the cake. It made
Right.
it better.
Yeah. A lot of
And you-
times you just mute the announcers now.
Exactly. Well, especially when it's Chris Collinsworth.
Surround sound is what I
Surround
call it.
But anyway, Brady, I think, will make Collinsworth sound like a good play-by-play guy. Like, I think it's going to
Yeah.
be terribly bad. I don't think he's going to transition well over to it. And
I think it could be all right,
Fox is
but
gonna
yeah,
have to eat
it's
the
not
money.
gonna be
They're gonna
great.
have to eat-
Oh yeah,
they're
they're
gonna-
gonna eat the money. I mean, it could very well be a Jason Witten type of situation. Like I love Witten, but announcing
And also
Good.
too,
Not
if
his
he's
forte.
going to own a part of the Raiders, then the NFL is
Yeah.
putting in a ton of restrictions on him as far as what he can and can't do if the
Yeah.
ownership goes in.
Yep, very true.
And see, I think Brady would be better just as like put him with Gronk in the pregame show. That's where he
Right.
should be. Put him in there. That way you could have those two break down different plays from both positions, where Brady could actually be telling Gronk where to go and everything else, and they could actually break down different plays like through the game and then hear him talk about the game in that aspect. I think that's a better way of using him and using his delivery of him talking, of him being basically talking about the game directly right there. Him trying to talk about it in that conversational tone throughout an entire game, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see that coming across as fluid as what Greg Olson was doing. I thought Greg Olson did a great job last year.
I thought so too.
And
And
the fact that he got pushed down and Brady was then asking Greg Olson, hey, can you give me some tips on how to be
that's
better?
so messed up.
But that's
I
Brady because
just
he
hated that.
thinks he's better than everybody else.
Yeah, I just hated that. But now Greg Olson's on the number 2 team. But I would be surprised, like Guller's saying, it just Bray's here for like a year, maybe 2 at the most, and then he gets tired of it. He's not that good, and then Greg Olson just moves back.
I think he's there for a
Maybe he
year.
comes back to play in the NFL again.
Ooh, Portland Raiders, player owner.
Yeah, right.
Now, I think it's a year, and I think they give him a year just because of the money factor. Then I think after that, they move him to the pregame with Gronk because watching those two interact together will be entertaining. And then they get Olsen back onto the main part of it. And then that's my fact, is that they at least give him somewhere where they can, okay, I think you get more viewership of him and Gronk interacting together in the pregame, and that's where they can, okay, now we justify the money at this point. Because I think
Maybe.
it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
really, really
It may be, but I'm hoping I'm gonna spin this around here. Hopefully the old Tom Brady team, the Patriots, gets squashed by the Bengals coming in this week. What are your thoughts on it, Jeff? You stand a chance or you down in the dirt already, pushing the alarm button?
No, I mean, and then as far as Jamar Chase, we'll see if he plays or not. I would not be surprised either way. I mean, if he doesn't play, then it'll be
More
a
love
little
to T. Higgins.
Well, if he doesn't, I'm hoping my
Yeah.
T. Higgins pick pays off then.
I've
Right.
got T. Higgins as well, so I'm hoping it pays off as well too.
And you got another guy in T. Higgins that we know he's going to be on his last year because the Bengals will not provide him an extension. I mean, this is just a huge, huge season for Joe Burrow, because if Joe Burrow has another season where he's dealing with injuries, then you're kind of approaching the point of someone that's kind of an injury prone quarterback, which would be
I would argue he's
devastating.
already an injury-prone quarterback.
Yes.
I don't think you could say that, not at this point, because
He's had
There-
what, one full season his rookie year?
he's had two, and
Oh,
it wasn't
two.
his
Excuse
rook-
me.
and the
2 out of
reason
4.
right. But the thing is, you can't blame him for his rookie year when he got his knee torn up because they had no freaking offensive line. And even when
I could blame
Joe
him
Burrow-
as being
Get it
injured.
out of the way. He could scramble a little bit more.
shut up, but
That's all
short
quarterbacks do is scramble anyway.
Mhm.
no. Joe Burrow, the way I think it's been remarkable how healthy
ran
he
the
has stayed at times. I mean, with the amount of times he got sacked, even on that team that went to the Super Bowl. But I think Joe Burrow, I think if Joe Burrow, if he wants to be the legend status, I think this could be a year where he gets the MVP.
You think that's why he's looking like Eminem this
Yep,
preseason?
he did shave his head. He did. Go
Yes,
down
he
for it.
did.
He's the real Slim Shady.
But in regards to this game specifically, I just I don't know how New England's going to score.
Yeah.
Jacoby Brissett will start the
Hey,
game.
they
They're going
brought
to have
Jacoby Brissett back. Hey, he's not. If you're going through where you don't want to start a guy you just drafted, and you want a guy in that's going to be serviceable, but you know he's not the future, so you know he's not competing to stay forever. Jacoby Brissett's the guy you want. Him or maybe Tyrod Taylor.
Gardner Minshew.
Because- Or Gardner Minshew, exactly. I think that was a good pickup by them to bring Brissett back in. It's somebody who Mayo played with. They played
Right.
together. So he knows, they have that right there. They've got this whole transition after Belichick left. There's going to be a lot of different change right there in what, they drafted Drake May. You don't want to rush him in. You don't want to just throw him to the Wolves with all the transition already else going on. Have him sit back, learn from Brissett, who is an established veteran, who's been in many different programs, has had a lot of success in different programs, and have him learn from him. I think they're doing the right thing.
Solid, yeah.
Are they
I
going to
think so,
have?
too.
Is this a rebuild year, a complete rebuild year for the Patriots? It absolutely fucking is. But that's what happens when you take out a long-standing coach. He's been there for over 20 years. That's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to my buddy Kirk, actually just 2 days ago, that's what a lot of Patriot fans are, braced for. Hey, it's rebuilding. That's what it is now. They've completely accepted it, and it's, hey,
Well,
we'll take what we get this year. Let's see some progress.
right. Like, we know the Patriots are going to be bad, so hopefully the Bengals, like I said, can start off easy. But for all the
They're gonna
fantasy
be bad.
managers
They
out
got
there,
enough
Jeff,
winning momentum.
who's going to be the starting running back to get Brown or Moss?
I think it's really going to be both. I think,
I hope it's
I-
Brown. I got him in one of my leagues.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
do
it's. I really think it's going to be pretty even. I think it. I think Chase Brown. There'll be some games where he gets the bulk of the carries, and then there's going to be, for whatever reason, Zach Moss gets a bulk of the carries. But it's going to be a little different. I mean, Joe Mixon was kind of a rare thing these days at every game running back that would get the full load.
3 down running
And-
back? Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think, I mean, we weren't going to re-sign Joe Mixon at this point in his career, but he had a really, really good career with us, and so I'm going to be curious to see how this running back by committee does.
Well, thanks to you for that not answer.
Well, anyway,
I
just
did.
as a little
I
side
know.
note here. I've got the NFL Network up on here as we're talking, and They've got David Carr, former first ever quarterback for the Houston Texans, and they asked for Super Bowl predictions. And David Carr predicts that the Houston Texans beat the 49ers.
That's a popular pick.
31-27
Yeah.
in the
There's a
Super
lot of
Bowl.
people that are saying that it's either going to be the Texans over the 49ers, the Texans over the Lions.
The other guy on here picked Baltimore beating the Lions.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, if Baltimore doesn't get there this year, there's some serious questions that are going to be raised.
Lots of serious questions, but yeah.
Because like you all said, you got Lamar Jackson. Can he win in the playoffs at that point? You've got Harbaugh. Can he get over the hump? Did he get lucky that one year?
There are a lot of teams this year that it's Super Bowl or bust. A lot of teams.
Yeah, and
if
that's
they
like I
don't
said,
make
that's not
it-
counting the Ravens. You're talking about the Bills,
You're talking
And I
about the
can't-
Ravens. You're talking about the Bills.
Chiefs,
If they
really.
if the
Yeah.
Chiefs don't make it, they have a year that it's not going to affect them. They've won enough the last few years. They've been one back
Yeah.
to back. If they don't
Yeah.
win this year, Andy Reid's not getting ran out of town. That's
Yeah.
not getting ran out of town. If they
Yeah,
don't
but
win this
they,
year,
they are
no
going
one's
for history
running
this
there.
year to be the first team ever to have 3 Super Bowls back to back to back.
Yeah. If that happens, then you're starting to knock out the Patriots as one of the Brady Patriots' best teams.
100%.
But if they get if the Chiefs don't win the Super Bowl this year, no one in that organization's gonna
Right.
be
Yeah.
good.
Mahomes isn't going anywhere. Kelsey's not getting immediately cut or anything like that.
Not leaving. Yeah, it's not heads rolled.
Yeah. But it's still Super Bowl bust for Kansas City because that's what they expect. Super Bowl.
Well, of course. I mean, that's just standard because you've done it the last 2 years.
Mhm.
But Baltimore, yes. Bills, yes. Cowboys, yes.
They shouldn't be, but
well,
yes, you are
It is
correct.
because everyone's on a 1-year contract.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone is on a 1-year contract. Coaching staff down. Everyone's 1-year contract.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say yes, because that's what it is. Houston, I don't see them as being Super Bowl or bust.
Of course not.
No, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a Houston Texans team ever gain so much buzz than this year.
Yeah, I
D'Amico
think that's the
Ryan-
CJ Stroud factor.
That's D'Amico Ryans. I think that the way that he's transforming that defense, I think the defense was very underrated, especially fantasy-wise. I took him in one of my leagues. I think that they're going to be a lot better than what they were last year because I think D'Amico Ryans is a very good coach. I like that he went back to the team that he played for, but I hated signing because I think he's a good coach. And he can actually, help bring a tenacity to this team that they haven't had and can help motivate them through even if they have a little bit less talent. But
And he
Yeah,
deserved to get Coach of the Year last year, not Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland.
D'Amico Ryans will get Coach of the Year this year. Watch and see.
He deserves it.
I think he's going to get it this year. I really do. I don't think Houston's going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they're going to make a deep push. But the thing is, a lot of people are giving them the credit because they went out and got Stephon Diggs. And at this point in Diggs' career, I see him more as a liability than a help. And I think that's why I didn't take CJ Stroud in any of my leagues this year, even though I had him last year in most leagues.
Well, Diggs
Because-
is usually pretty good the first year. The second year is when he starts really saying, "Why aren't you getting me the ball? Where's my touchdown?"
And I agree with you on that. I do. The fact is, though, that when he went to Buffalo his first year, there was no one else there. So he was getting all that. He's going to a Houston team that has some established talent at wide receiver as well.
Well, they
Yeah.
have a rookie, Tank Dell, and
Nico
Was it-
Collins?
Nico Collins.
okay.
Yeah, but these guys already have.
That's not a wow me.
He was wow last year. Tank Dell came out of nowhere, yes, but you've got two guys that have already some chemistry there with CJ Stroud already. Now,
Yeah.
Diggs coming in is better than them, yes, but he's a year behind the chemistry that he's already built with these other guys. So if he's not getting the ball right off the bat, is he going to go ahead and start blowing shit up? I don't know. To me, I see it. I see that as being the right talent, but the wrong guy added into the situation. Maybe D'Amico Ryan can keep that in check. I don't know, but I've got some question marks. The minute I saw that trade come in, I was like, how is this going to react? With what's going on. I mean, when you brought him into Buffalo, you
It
didn't
depends
have
on
him
who's
as
in control of that locker room.
And Stephon Diggs needs to be comfortable with the fact that you're the number 2 guy right now. Nico Collins is the number 1, and then you're splitting time with Tate Dell, and he's not going to
gonna
be
okay
the
with
guy in Buffalo.
He's not going to be okay with that.
Oh, I
That's
know,
the thing, is
but
if
he
you're
better.
not
He
okay
has
with
to.
that, the way you have to handle is you have to go out there and outplay everybody in practice and in the preseason games. You have to go out there and prove yourself as that I'm better. But the thing is, he won't do that. He'll get into fights with people. And I've liked Stephon Diggs, but I got to be honest about it, is that he can be a cancer.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
it was time for him
Leave a
to
receiver.
go in Buffalo for sure.
No, it was. It was time for him to go. The thing is, they also let Gabriel Davis go, and who
Yeah,
the
that's the
fuck
problem.
does Josh Allen have to throw to when he's ranked as the number 1 quarterback in every fantasy league? It's like, who the fuck is he throwing to?
Yeah.
That's
He
a
can
serious
throw to
issue
Dalton
I have.
Kincaid so much.
I know. I was about to say I was about Dalton Kincaid, and that's it.
That's about it.
And
Because they didn't really. Well, they got Kean Coleman, I guess, the Florida State wide receiver, who I think could be good, but he's not going to be Stephon Diggs out of the gate.
You
Or
name another receiver, on Buffalo.
like I said, besides those two guys, that's all I could name, and I barely came up with Kean Coleman.
Yeah. Well, anyways, last game we'll go ahead and bring up is the Monday night game.
Turn of Aaron Rodgers.
New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. Now, do you guys think Aaron Rodgers is going to last more than 3 plays?
I think so. He should last more than
I don't
3
know.
plays. He should at least last
know.
a half. After that, I've got question marks.
Do we really think Breece Hall is going to have that big of an impact as much as people say?
With an improved line and the fact that he's done it with
I
shitty
do.
QBs, yes.
Breece Hall really impressed me last year in the way that he was able to come back from injury and what he was able to do. I think he is a very, very, he's got a gift, like talented running back. I'm hoping that because I drafted him first overall in my big league. So, yes. Well, I was the 4th overall pick. So, yes, that's who I took, Breece Hall.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's about the range.
I think he's going to have a fantastic year. The line they improved on. I mean, they brought Tyron Smith in from Dallas, which, hey, Tyron Smith is who he is now at this point, but still, I think he's.
And they got 2 old Baltimore Ravens good line, too.
And they did. And I think they're going to be a lot better. And giving him more protection to be able to run around with that, as well as if Aaron Rodgers is able to stay healthy all year long, teams are not going to be just doubling down on Breece Hall the whole time like they did last
season. Can't put 8 in the box. You got to think of Garrett Wilson out there.
And Garrett Wilson is going to have a better year with Aaron Rodgers.
Right. Just think how good of a start Garrett Wilson has had to his career with
he owns the record
Zach
for
Wilson.
most yards and reception totals Garrett Wilson does for the Jets in the first 2 years.
Right. With Zach
Yeah.
Wilson and Tim Boyle throwing you the football, that's really impressive.
It is impressive. So that's why I think Brees Hall is going to have a monster year this year. I really, truly
Yeah.
do.
Well, what do
I
y'all
mean,
think of
let's
the to go to the 49ers for just a second? What do y'all think of the 49ers? They have 6 players making the most of their position, basically, or over 15 million with the
Well,
Ajuk signing they recently did.
Eventually, the house of cards is going to fall. You can only pay so many people. And I think
Yeah.
that it's going to come back. Eventually, it's going to come back. You got to pay Brock Purdy at some point.
right. That's the key.
And that's the thing is, are you planning on paying him, or do you think that you can just plug another quarterback in and do this? Because you got Mr. Irrelevant to do what he's doing at this point. Are you willing to go ahead and let him walk and think you can put somebody else in it? Are you going to go ahead and pay him? How are you going to pay him? Are you just going to say, fuck the luxury tax? We'll pay whatever it is. We'll just pay whatever it is.
Yeah.
At some point, John Lynch is going to look like a genius, or he's going to look like a complete ass.
And so the thing is that they better get it done this year, because you're exactly right. If they have to pay Brock Purdy after the season's over. They can't just pay him only $1 million to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And so they really missed out. I mean, they have one more year left to take care of this. And I think this year, if they don't get to the Super Bowl, that'll be a very, very huge disappointment, and a disappointment for John Lynch's front office career. And not to mention, all they gave up to get Trey Lance, all the draft picks that they gave up to get him.
Well, yeah. I'll say the Cowboys helped him out a little bit, but
They gave him a 4th rounder. But at the same time, if they don't make the Super Bowl, that helps them in negotiations with Purdy. So basically, they want to win.
well, assuming he's
But if
not
they win,
the reason they do a world beater, and it's other reasons they don't win, like their
yeah,
defense.
but still, that helps though. If they win, that's great. Win the Super Bowl, but Purdy's probably going to walk because you're not going to be able to sign him.
Maybe they might be able to sign him, and like you say, just say fuck the luxury tax. But their payroll is getting up there. I say at some point, we just don't know when that point is the play.
Yeah, I don't know what that point is. Like, how much money can you actually spend? If you go to the Super Bowl and lose, you got to pay Purdy. But then you're going to start hearing from your fan base if Purdy hasn't done it yet. Like, hey, we've been here 2 years in a row. We still haven't done it. Why are you paying this guy? Why don't you go find somebody else? If he was Mr. Irrelevant. You found Mr. Irrelevant to be able to run this. Can't you get anybody else in this position?
Right.
Or if you don't make it at all, then you have more negotiation room with Purdy, and you're able to keep him, and you can pay him less. So I think that's what they're banking on, is just, hey, let's see what we can do here, and we can kind of roll with it from there. But I think it's a dangerous game to play. I'll say that as a Cowboys fan who hopes they play a dangerous game and hope it bites them all in the ass. But at the same time, I've been watching how my team has been doing the salary cap and just pulling my own damn hair out because of it. So,
yeah. So I mean, really, when you bring in Dallas, I mean, that's some of the most mismanaged salary cap. I mean, that's some of the worst handling of the salary cap I've ever seen.
Because they freaking, handcuff themselves to it.
Correct.
But I know they're going to end up signing Dak and going to have to pay him more than what they would have paid him 3 months ago.
Or if they just re-sign him in 2020, they could have broke off from Dak. after this season. It would have been perfect.
They could have, but they're going to be held up to position. But I firmly believe they're going to be signing Dak Prescott. It's going to happen.
How soon?
They have to. At this point, you signed.
It's probably after
CD.
the season.
You signed CD. No, they'll have to do it before the season. If it gets
We had
the
this
season,
argument
they'll
last
walk.
year. We're not sure Jerry Jones or the Jones family's that smart. They may not sign Dak. Just because you signed CeeDee Lamb does not mean you signed Dak.
No, probably they will. I think they will. I think
All
they're
right.
a little bit smart. Even though we like to call everybody idiots, I think they're smarter in that aspect than we are.
We'll see.
Maybe more.
I say, we'll have to see how the year turns out.
We'll see, but I that's my guess is that Dak will get signed some point during the year.
Yeah.
They'll get him taken care of. If it gets to the end of the year, hey, I'll eat crow because I know he's going to walk.
Yes, at that point he will, and then at that point McCarthy would be gone too.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. And then I will accept what the Patriot fans have to accept this year is that it's now a rebuild. And as a rebuild, you don't want to have a high priced receiver. That's why I believe that they're going to find a way to sign Dak. Because if you're going to go ahead and say, F it, we're going to rebuild and let the quarterback go, you're going to trade the receiver, you're going to get rid of Mike Parsons and stack picks. So you can do a full rebuild, and the picks you could get for those players is setting your team up for
Yeah.
huge future success.
Like I said, we had this argument last year. Like yeah.
Last week, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to get back into it. But that's just my belief. That's all I'm
No, I feel you.
Khalil Mack trade. That's what you want for
It's what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
If it gets to that point, at least.
All right. Well, we'll be looking forward to talking all of week 1 action next week and seeing where everybody stands and how we feel our teams has come to fruition. But we'll go ahead and take a quick break right here, and we'll be back here in just a moment with the next round.
Yeah. I think just sports gumbo right now.
That's what it is.
Okay.
On Gumbo, we'll do baseball real quick. I've got the update on EPL, and then that's all I have.
Yeah, all I'd have is Ranger stuff.
I have the Tour Championship.
Scotty
The what?
Scheffler.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Scotty
deserved.
won 7 tournaments, an Olympic gold medal, and $65 million.
Yeah, who says you can't make money on the PGA Tour?
Like,
We
what
just say
the
you make
hell?
more on Live.
What the hell? Like, that is.
Yeah.
He has had one of the most successful years in golf that I can remember.
He has.
Absolutely. It's
name a better year in golf than what Scotty Scheffler has had.
Snane's year is the
And he
only
had
one
a
I can
kid.
think of.
And he had a kid.
That don't
Yeah.
mean shit for the tour.
No, I'm just saying a successful year.
Yeah. It also too, like when Tiger had kids, when Jack had kids, even their game dropped off a little bit for their standards. So
That's just because Tiger Woods couldn't keep his stable of Denny's waitresses.
yeah, there's
very
that
true, yeah.
too.
It was that I was because my mother-in-law right now is just obsessed with Scotty Scheffler. Like she wasn't until here recently. Now she's like, he's just does such a great job. He's won so much. He's won this much money. Like, what's going on? I'm like, yeah, I've been talking about it for the past 2 years.
Right. Yeah. It's like, welcome to the club.
Yeah, I found a story that when he wanted to, he was in high school, he was making a choice of, should I go, apparently his grandmother wanted him to be a lawyer. and he wanted to go into golf. And she basically like said, "You're throwing your life away. I'm done with you." And recently, they've like made up. Recently, like,
Of course, yeah. It's like, oh, you're rich now. Let me make up with you.
and that was what I said. Is like, oh yeah, $65 million makes people turn their turn around really quickly.
Right.
But regardless,
Mm-mm.
is that they're now
Yeah.
apparently repaired the relationship, and she's like, "Yeah, I was absolutely wrong. I'm sorry. You were,
I was
Right.
wrong. You were right.
yeah."
Mhm. Are we ready to start the gumbo then? Sounds like we're already talking about it.
I got a tinkle, but yeah, I'll wait till afterwards because I think we can get through this quick enough.
You sure?
Oh yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah. All right.
I've held it for fucking longer.
All
5,
right.
4, 3, 2, and welcome back from the break as we're ready to hit the last round. Please tip your bartenders and waitresses as we're ready to hit the sports gumbo. And we'll go ahead and start this off right off the bat with MLB action and the Texas Rangers.
Yep.
And the Rangers, we are recording this on Wednesday, so on Tuesday night, Wyatt Langford getting the walk-off grand slam to beat the New York Yankees 7-4. And
Greatness.
I've been seeing this meme going around on social media about he's the first person since Jackie Robinson to get a grand slam, an inside the park home run.
Well, it's a
And
walk-off grand slam, the inside the park home run, and hit for the cycle in the same season.
yes, and since Jackie Robinson, I haven't looked past the meme to see if that's actually true or not. But still, even though the Ranger season hasn't gone the way we've wanted to, and Wyatt, we talked earlier in the season about.
I think Wyatt's had a good year.
Well, the
I mean, you
power
got your
play-
struggles earlier, but
Well, we talked about the struggles earlier, but then he went down with the injury, and we talked about it then that hey, give him some time to figure it out. Give him some time to figure it out. Mike Trout needed time to figure it out. He needed time to figure it out, and since he's come back from the injury, he's been a different player since then. And I don't think, and I think if the Rangers were in contention, people would be talking about it more. But because
yeah,
they're
that's
not,
potential rookie
he's
of the
not
year. Yeah.
getting, he's not getting his dues or his.
Yeah. And the Rangers could actually win this series against the Yankees today too if they hold on to their current lead.
Yeah,
Which-
half an inning to go. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that'd be 2 out of
So,
3.
That'd be at
And-
least a win late in the season, even
And I
though the
went-
playoffs are out of the reach.
And I went to the new ballpark for the first time.
It's 10-6
this
right
week.
now.
Yep.
You both did, didn't you?
Yeah,
You've been here recently. You've been there recently too, Caleb.
the ballpark, yes.
Yeah, that was the first time I ever went, and I was thoroughly impressed. I just loved obviously the indoor, and what I couldn't believe is unlike the old ballpark where there's just a lot of open space, how many restaurants and stores and places within the ballpark
Yeah.
they're able to cram in there. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
Very
get
true.
some potato barbecue?
I had some. No, I did not. But I had some
Yeah, you had some
prime
good
rib.
tips with some free food.
I
I
hear
got
about
prime
potato
rib.
barbecue all the time.
It is great
Prime rib
barbecue.
was good though.
I've been wanting to hear about. I've been wanting to try it.
Yep.
Hmm.
The Nate King can tell us all. It is delicious.
He has told me multiple times that Hurtado is the best barbecue in the ballpark, and they have 2 locations there. The Mexican.
Yes.
I've heard their burrito tacos are amazing.
But yeah, I mean Hurtado is obviously super popular, especially really Chris. Like right after you left, they've like exponentially grown in popularity. So
Oh,
yeah, it hurts to miss that one.
That happens.
Yeah, right. And we're gonna need you to stay in Pittsburgh because we got a World Series, sir.
Yeah.
I have to, unfortunately. But
No. Maybe
at least
someday you come
PNC
back.
Park is nice to go to.
Very true. Great ballpark.
Yeah,
Very good
definitely
stuff.
great ball.
Just not tonight for your Pirates.
Yeah. No, not my Pirates.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
got no hit
no
by the
hit.
Cubs
Still watch
12-0.
the team.
Yeah.
I still watch the team.
I know. The Rangers are yours. And speaking of it, don't forget the late Ranger Elvis Andrews is retiring a Ranger officially.
Friday. Signed
Mhm.
the 1-day contract this Friday and retiring as a Ranger as he should.
Yeah. It's basically the only team I can think of that he should retire with. I mean, he played a couple other places, but
played with. But
yeah. But
he
I
had
mean, he played here for
success he ever
years. Yeah, I mean, when you think of him, you think of
Elvis was
Beltray and
good.
the goofiness.
Elvis was good, but at the same time, would he have been as endeared to the Rangers fan base if it wouldn't have been his antics with Beltray?
Oh, absolutely not.
I feel like
yeah,
he
no.
rode Beltray's coattails.
Oh, he did.
You can
He
say
did
that.
for sure. I can agree with that statement 100%. But
Yeah, I can see him trying to wiggle his way into being in the Beltray statue, just like him touching his head.
no, there's just a hand right above the head. He's like, "That's my hand."
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
And
we had that discussion last week. But,
yeah, very true.
I still think it needs to be just the one knee. But
Agreed.
yes,
Yep.
definitely the one knee. But yeah, Elvis had a great career, 2,000 hits, and then he was part of that Mark Teixeira deal, and that was
Mhm.
really one of
And he
the
went
first.
to some of the World Series for us.
Yeah, he went to both of those World Series. Yeah.
Mhm.
he did.
Yeah, they were the first two.
I
Yep.
watched him play a lot of games.
Right.
Games.
hmm
I watched him play a lot. It was
It was
definitely
entertaining to fun. He threw over the first baseman's head more times than I'd like to admit that I saw.
hell yeah. I
But
watched a
he, yeah, like he was a good player though, and it was good
I
with the
enjoyed-
antics between the two. Very
he's
enjoyable to
not-
watch that time.
He's not a guy that I expect ever to see a statue there, but he was a pleasure to watch. He was a good player for the team.
Yeah,
To me, it's like Ian Kinsler. Great guy. Enjoyed watching him play. Didn't feel like he did us wrong.
I can agree with that.
And okay, and I'm glad that he wanted to retire as a Ranger.
True.
That's what I don't see him being up in the Hall of Fame or anything for anything. But hey,
No,
Yep.
just a
Right,
nice,
retired.
solid player. Multiple
Right.
time All-Star for Elvis.
very multiple times. So
Well, I got a question for you too. Going on to another Rangers thing. Hopefully, I'm not stealing your thunder, Porter.
no.
So Travis Janikowski had an amazing catch where he basically saved the game for the Rangers and brought back a home run over the fence here recently.
That was in the White Sox series.
Yes. I've heard that touted as the greatest Rangers catch ever by some of the local sports media. And I'm like, I don't agree with that. You got Gary Sheffield's catch, you got Rusty Greer's dive. I mean,
It
it saved a home run.
You could
Or
put
Gary
that
Matthews, excuse me.
in the list
Yes.
of great catches, but not as the greatest.
I could agree with that.
Yeah,
Now,
It was
what
an
would've
amazing
been-
catch. Don't get me wrong. And the time
What
and
would have
position
been
of the game it
greatest
was.
catch would have been if Nelson Cruz would have caught that in game 6.
yeah.
Very
That
true.
would have been
Very
the
true.
greatest catch in all of Ranger history. That.
Very true.
But that Jankowski, I would not. It was a fantastic catch. It was a great catch. That is not the greatest catch in Ranger history. Not the
Yeah,
greatest.
see, I'm with y'all,
Yeah,
but that's why I was just like, why are these people talking like it's the greatest thing they've ever seen?
if you sat there
And like I said, I could
hey,
just name off at least a few more besides the two I just mentioned. They're just like,
if you
these are
wanted to
great
put in-
catches.
if you want to put in, okay, here are the 5 greatest catches in Ranger history. I'm not going to argue with you if you put it in, as long as it's not number one. I'm not going to argue with you because it is a great catch. It was a fantastic catch that saved the game. You're also playing against the Chicago White Sox, who are the worst, possibly the worst team ever.
Right. But
Major
I mean,
League
the
Baseball.
catch saved you from losing that game.
It is
The
saving
game would
from
have been
losing that game, but I look at where it is. That catch
Yeah,
saved
it saved you
that
from
game.
losing a historically bad team.
It did. And
Right.
it's not like you were in a position where if you lost that game, you'd be knocked out of first place of the division.
Yeah, or
You
you're fighting for
lose
the playoffs.
wild
Then.
card. Yeah,
Very
you're
true.
fighting for a playoff spot. I mean, there's still 9.5 back. There's still an opportunity. It's a very
Right.
slim opportunity. But if you would have been like,
Well, as
if
me
you
and
were
Jeff
in a,
say, it's already done.
exactly. But if you were like a half game out and he made that catch and it saved it from that, okay, you're popping that up, especially if they make the playoffs, as one of the biggest catches ever. But no, great catch, fantastic. It was phenomenal to watch, but it's not the best
Mhm.
catch ever in franchise history by any means.
I agree
Because
with
it
that. As I said,
has
it's a great catch, but like I
great
said, I
catch,
don't
but it was in a
understand why
meaningless
people
game.
were. Yeah, I think it's just because it's the latest greatest that people started saying.
Clickbait,
It's the thing.
clickbait.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's clickbait. That's all it is. Because the Rangers still 9.5 games out of the West, 8.5 games out of the West, out of the wild card.
Yep.
And you could say after that, oh, it's only 8.5 games out of the wild card. Well, they're third from the last team in the wild card.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you still, even though you have 9.5 games to catch up to Houston, that's your only chance. You're not passing every other team in the American League.
As
And
I
they,
said ways before, about midway this season, I was like, you got to win this division
that's what's got to be. But you're only
next year.
3 games behind Seattle right now. So
True.
I think there's a good chance with the way Seattle has just completely gone down the
Seattle
drain.
has
I
blown
think
up.
the Rangers could
Houston
pass them.
hasn't looked great. They've
They
been
could.
playing even with Texas here the last 10 games. Both have been 6-4.
Right.
But Houston has not looked great. Houston's not pulling away with it.
No.
So that's
Mhm.
why I have held out the hope to this point of, hey, we're not out just yet. And the way that, yeah, they got drummed by the Yankees the first game,
Mm-hmm.
really since the Cleveland series, they haven't lost a series since then if they end up winning tonight. They've either swept or won each series since the Cleveland series. That's 3 series in a row. That's not much,
Mhm.
but hey, that's something to build on.
Right.
No. Yeah.
We'll see how things go.
Yeah. I just, Houston. Yeah, they'll still win the division, but I just don't. I don't see that. I don't see them doing anything in the playoffs at all.
To me, it's Baltimore. It's Baltimore, New York Yankees this
Right.
year. I'd like to say Cleveland. I would like to say Cleveland, but Cleveland got drummed by
Or Kansas City.
Kansas City, who dropped down to third. So I mean, Kansas City is still down
Yeah.
on the bottom. But
Yeah, Kansas
think-
City is really lucky that they weren't burned more on that 7-game losing streak that they had before they finally got
very
a
lucky,
W
'cause they're
tonight.
sitting in third, and they're still behind the Twins.
Yeah, and Detroit, I thought had a chance maybe to sneak back in, but they weren't. They didn't do anything. Obviously, Boston has just gone completely down the drain this year. So along with Seattle, so Casey is pretty fortunate that losing streak didn't
But
do.
even with
them
all
more
that
damage.
being said, I think that the American League is between Baltimore and the Yankees. It's between those
Oh,
two
100%.
Yankees. To me,
Mhm.
those are the 2 best teams in the American League, hands down. And
And they have been, yeah. I mean, Judge is
yeah,
still on pace for
they
60 home runs, I think.
that's the ALCS needs to be those two. It needs to be because they're the two best teams in the American League. The Dodgers are the best team in the league right now, record
Yes.
wise. And I'm calling it's going to be Dodgers and I should call them the Phillies. Dodgers and Phillies, but I think the Dodgers are going to beat the Phillies. Yet,
That's probably who will be at the end
That's who I
of
think.
the NL championship.
And then I'll make picks after that. But I don't know how it's going to end up squaring out with the playoffs. We'll see how that goes. But it's going to be a travesty if it's not the Yankees and the Orioles in the ALCS this year, because those are the two best teams in the American League. And those.
Well, I
that's
think the way the
ALCS.
playoffs stack up right now, they're going to beat the ALDS.
Exactly. I think they will be. Exactly. I would love them to be in the ALCS because that, to me,
Oh,
are the two
yeah,
best
that's your-
teams, and that's what I
right.
want to see. Because then the ALDS is going to be the best series in the American League.
And that's why I'm thinking the Houston Astros are going to skirt by to the ALCS because they've got an easy road.
Exactly. They won't have to face those two.
They'll face one of them in the NLCS, but yeah.
All right, Jeff. I know you wanted to talk a little bit of golf here.
Yes, the
Scheffler's domination.
Golf?
correct. And this legendary season for Scotty Scheffler has finally come to an end. Very appropriate for him winning the Tour Championship. That is
First ever Tour Championship.
right, exactly. His first ever Tour Championship and 7 wins on the year. In $62 million, plus a Masters, plus a Players Championship,
And an Olympic gold medal.
and an Olympic gold medal. So there's just nothing. I mean, other than what Tiger did back in the day and what Jack Nicklaus did back in the day.
Don't forget about BJ Singh when he had that huge
Well,
year
yeah,
in
that
total,
too.
total earnings.
That's a really good point. In 2004 with BJ Singh when he won 9 times.
Yeah, but didn't them win a gold medal while they did it in the Olympics? I mean, come on.
No, they
That's
didn't.
just a random addition though, every 4 years.
I
True,
actually
but at
had
the same
fun
time,
watching that.
That's a very, very big addition. That's not like saying, hey, I went to the Olympics and won silver. Okay. No, you won gold, and he won it convincingly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's the Olympics golf.
I think that is.
Who's he going
getting-
against?
I don't think it takes anything from that.
I
A
think
lot of the top tier players are from other countries.
They
Yeah, I mean-
are, but I don't think they were playing this year.
yes, they were. This
Yeah,
was
they were.
this was a legitimate.
Oh,
Yeah, they were
Tournament.
in it.
I take it back. I take it back.
Lucy Godberg was in it. Roy
Yep,
McIlroy
John Rahm
in it.
was in
You
there.
say Whoopi Goldberg?
Uh-huh.
I'm just playing.
Yes, Whoopi Goldberg.
Yeah, Hideki was up there. They had all the top players just about playing it. And I think over the past few years, and we're just not only seeing it in golf, but I think we're seeing it in definitely in basketball too. These players they're more passionate about winning the Olympics now than they were, say, 10, 15 years ago. Or I just look
That
back
whole
at that.
Olympic talk is a talk for another conversation for another time. But as you bringing up Scotty and just how dominant he's been this year and the year that he's had, everyone's been looking for the next Tiger since Tiger got caught banging the porn star and lost his power like Samson lost his hair when he got caught.
Our Austin Powers lost his mojo.
Exactly.
Yes.
And everyone's been looking for who's the next Tiger. Who's the next one? Is Scotty the next Tiger?
He's getting there. And what's amazing about Sky Scheffler, it took him forever to win his first title. He didn't win his first title until 2022, and then since then he's won 12 other events. The only thing, and again, I think this is a weak knock, but he hasn't won any other majors than Augusta yet. So I would think for him next year, to one of his goals would be to win a major other than Augusta National. I think that would be a big top goal for him.
Exactly. I think that's been the thing that's been holding back is these other big wins. 'Cause he's been good at Augusta. He's now won FedEx Championship.
He's
But all
won the
other
Players
ones have
twice.
been the Waste Management, the smaller wins that
Right.
he's actually gone into. But yeah, I agree. He needs to get another major. He needs to win the major. He needs to win. He's going to win multiple majors. Okay, if you don't win Masters again this next year, that's fine. But you need to win at least 2 other majors.
Yeah, and I think he will. He's just too good not to win other
He
major
is, but he
championships.
needs to work on his. He needs to work on his
But the putting, that's
His
the key.
green on the green, he sucks. He's the best iron player in the game, but he cannot hit the broadside of barn. When I watch him putt, I'm like, oh God, I don't feel so bad about myself. And I golf once a year.
That's the thing. When it's really bad when Sky can't putt, but when he putts, he is literally unbeatable. No one can beat him at all.
Oh, I saw a reel out the other day that said, why do men like golf? And it's like you see LeBron James play, like, yeah. You see Scotty Scheffler miss a putt, and you're like, oh, well, I don't feel too bad about myself now.
Yeah. Right.
And that's
So
exactly why. But
yeah.
I love Scotty. My kids love Scotty. Trying to find cheaper tickets to Oakmont when they come up here next year, so we can actually see him.
That will
But
be amazing. And what a cool Father's Day weekend event that would be too.
But that would be awesome. But yeah, he's the best player in golf. He's proven it now, but he's got to work on his fucking short game, because if he wants to get put up into the upper echelon of best of all time, he needs to win he has to win other majors, and he has to work on that short game, because really the putting's killing him.
Right.
That's the only thing you can critique on his game right now.
Yeah.
And it's like blatantly obvious.
And when and the thing is, it's like it can be, it's really, really bad for him sometimes. So, but
Well, it is,
yeah,
because he won 7 tournaments, as we said. He's won 7 tournaments, $65 million. There were more tournaments he could have won that he lost because he couldn't fucking hit the broadside of a barn with his putter.
oh, absolutely. He could have won 2 or
He
3
won
more
7.
tournaments.
It was amazing. We're talking about how this is one of the best years ever for a golfer. He should have won 10 to 12 tournaments.
Yes.
He should have. But he didn't, because he couldn't putt.
No, yeah, I mean,
This should
he
have
could have
been an
easily won.
unattainable goal for anyone else past then, and he couldn't putt enough to win. And that was still, even then, great. That's how great he is with the rest of his game.
Yeah, I mean, it's
And this is
unbelievable.
coming from a guy who can't putt for shit. So I understand a bad putter when I see one, because I am one.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm looking for Scotty next year, just to get another major too, and he, because him and Xander are now tied at 2.
Well, Xander's finally got that monkey off his back. Hey, maybe that will bring some. They better milk that possible rivalry. I know they both like each other, but that's a competitive rivalry that golf can actually milk with Shoffley and Scheffler. The problem is you're going to lose a lot of the older viewers because they're not going to know who is who
Oh yeah, yeah.
because
Mhm.
their names are so close together that they're going to forget who's who and who they're rooting for. So
Right. Yeah.
I know that because my mother-in-law mixes them up every single time.
Mhm.
Well, anyways, I wanted to bring up a little English Premier League. Uh, Arsenal
Mhm.
and Brighton tied 1-1 this last week, which kept
What
Arsenal down
happened?
in fourth place. I will tell you what happened. Because what happened is Declan Rice ended up getting 2 yellow cards in this game, giving him the red card and getting him kicked out of the game. But that
Wow.
last yellow card was early in the second period, and this actually changed because Arsenal was pushing. They were really pushing and getting the point to where they could probably get, the game-winning goal. But a
Yep.
controversial second yellow card for Declan Rice, where he got it because he kicked the ball away from the referee. However, when he kicked the ball away, the Brighton player kicked the ball right back at him, and that Brighton player was not given a yellow card. And this yellow card, the second yellow card to Declan Rice, gave him a red card. Kicked him out of the
Mhm.
game. First ever red card in his entire career, and
Yeah,
he's had an
that's
8-year career with West Ham before he was traded over to Arsenal last year. So first ever red card in his career for this reason. And at that point, it all just kind of Arsenal wasn't able to, really build back on the momentum. It was all kind of the wind were taken out of the sails, as it would say. So they tied 1-1, left them right as of at this point in fourth place behind Brighton in third. Liverpool's in second, Manchester City's in first. So rough go of it there for the Gunners.
yeah, that's but you get Tottenham in a couple weeks, so
They have Tottenham here. Yep, we don't have any game next week, but we have Tottenham in a couple weeks. The big rivalry game. So looking forward to that, and we'll have the update on that after that game happens. Yeah, a
Mhm.
couple weeks off so they can kind of get resettled and get ready to go. But yeah, quick news there from the start of the English Premier League. Felt like it was only off for maybe 2 weeks before we were back into it again.
oh, that's the crazy thing about the Premier League. It ends like in May, and then before you know it, August rolls around.
Yeah,
It's a new
it felt
season.
like a blink of the eye, and we were back into it again. So that was exciting, especially for my boys who are Wyatt starting soccer this weekend, and
All
Declan in
right.
October is starting t-ball.
And yes, my nephew Cole will also be starting soccer this weekend. So,
That's awesome.
There you
so
go.
there
Is
we go.
Chase going to be coaching?
Oh hell no, he's definitely coaching.
You have to. Are you going to
Are
be out at the
you?
game? Are you going to be out at the game critiquing his coaching?
Oh,
His coaching.
yeah, I'd definitely do
Of
that.
course.
If he was the
I
coach, I'd definitely be critiquing him the whole freaking time.
Well, I coached Wyatt, so I will be coaching Declan in t-ball. I am not coaching soccer.
No, I wouldn't either.
No, my limited soccer knowledge will not help any of these young kids, and it will only hinder them by me teaching them the wrong way. So I have refused to coach soccer. I am only going to be the spectator parent that's over there having a good time, clapping and rooting everyone on.
There you go. Because that's all I would do for soccer too.
That's the best thing I can do. That's why it's playing for the Seneca Valley team on Saturdays and the school team on Sundays. So yes.
God, man, you better not. They better not be having too many of those
They do
during Cowboys
it's
game.
an hour long. It's 30-minute practice beforehand, and then the game after.
There you
One day a
go.
week.
Not bad.
I'm not coaching, so I can actually pull up the games on my phone if I need to.
Ah, Very good. Got to.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I think we've hit about everything that we can hit this evening.
Yes.
I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. Please follow us on all of your favorite social media outlets. And please reach out to us and let us know if there's anything that you'd like to hear us talk about. We'll be coming up here. It's a big part of the sports season with the NFL season getting underway. Always lots of content to talk about there, as you found out here this evening. We got college football as well. Baseball season going through as we're getting to the end of the season there. And lots of other sports going off. NBA season and NHL will be starting up here before we know it. And rodeo
Mhm.
season's getting
Very true.
underway as well. So
October
I-
that's when all the sports are going to be going on.
Hmm.
exactly. So we're getting here to the heart of the season. We hope you're all enjoying the content. Please respond to us. Let us know what's going on. We'd love to have you like and subscribe. And we'll be talking about it soon. Until then, we'll see everyone at the next round. Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Ah.
You keep forgetting we don't have to really show it to the camera because
Oh yeah.
Yeah, since we're not doing video
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
It's just cheers for
I
us.
forgot it too.
Yeah.
yeah, that was just a cheers for all of us, just to each other.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, good.
Although
job, everyone.
I did find a sound that I